This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
And good morning. I'm Ryan Reicher, filling in for Marc Cox. It's a day past the new year, so the second day of 2026. Has anything changed? Has anything felt different? Well, I feel like this is the true quiet time because after you get past New Year and, okay, did anything happen? Oh, that tragedy over by the Alps. Okay, did anything new happen? But otherwise, it is pretty slow. Normally, for a talk show host, you are just deeply searching into the dark web to find anything to talk about. But, man, this last week and a half, there has been no slowdown in the news. And, by the way, producer Drew, I messaged Nicole Murray, and I said, did he just call you chunky?
Oof.
Listening to the tail end of that show, are you kidding me? You can't do that.
No.
So, we have Nicole Murray on this hour, so we'll have to ask her about that. Did she just be called chunky on a national radio program? Whew. I don't know you recover. As a guy, you cannot recover from that, honestly.
He's not living that one down.
No. Can I tell you something that happened at my place of work here up in Detroit? So we have other radio stations, just like, a lot of times you find their sister stations, you all share a building, and you have, shared facilities. So, here's basically where one station has their workstations, and there's another one, and then the other side of the building is all salespeople. That's mostly empty for the most part. But, it's divided in half, and the salespeople get half, even though they probably only need, let's say, a third of the space. So we're kind of close quarters, but you also use the same bathroom. So I go to use the restroom, and I hear someone talking in the stall. And I'm like, wait, what is that? And it's sports. And I'm like, wait, are they on the phone? Are they in the stall using the restroom on the phone? So, you get done, you wash your hands, and they come out, and he's not on the phone. And I said, wait, were you just talking to yourself? The person said, yeah, when I'm about to go on air and I get a couple of minutes here, I like to practice my intro into the segment. I practice it in the bathroom to give myself a little bit of extra, time to really nail it when I get back on the air. Do you do that? Do you know anyone that does that where they practice in the bathroom?
I mean, I think I have the privilege of working with some pretty professional people that have been doing it. Not that that's not professional, but the guys I work with have been doing it for a long time. Even Tom Ackerman's been doing it since I've been born.
Yeah.
So
right.
he doesn't have to practice anything. So I'm
You're
grateful.
He's old.
No,
Right.
he's seasoned, I'll say. Chunky. He has a chunky history of working.
Chunky.
But no, is he in the bathroom? Is he standing up in the
No,
bathroom?
sitting.
Sitting
He's
down
sitting
just
in the
on
stall.
the toilet?
Yeah. Yep, he's doing his business, sitting down, talking to himself, going over in his mind how he's going to handle the next segment, maybe how he's going to do the tease, how he's going to, set up the segment, how he's going to get the callers hooked so they call in. He's going over these things openly as he's speaking. And I think, I don't know, maybe it works for him, but it was strange.
But he cares, though. That's important.
He does care. But, of course, you don't have any strange coworkers where you're at.
So I have a guy that I work with that will get very upset, and he doesn't direct it outwardly towards any producers or anything, but he'll get pissed at technology, and you can always hear him screaming and stuff. We have soundproof rooms here, soundproof studios, but you can still hear a faint screaming at technology. Have you ever worked with anybody like that?
If you can scream loud enough to get through the soundproofing in these professional studios, then you're screaming pretty loud. This is what I would warn anyone that is capable of doing that. You're going to blow your voice out, man. Don't do it. Next thing you know, it's going to be gravelly. It's going to be scrapey. You're going to be coughing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't let that get in the way because it's going to hurt you down the line. Do I know anyone that's yelled and screamed? I've only heard my boss yell and scream at someone once since I've been here in Detroit. And it was a good layout. But other than that, no. That's the only screaming I've heard.
So you've worked in radio for how long?
since 2006 professionally, meaning after college. I was working in college, but I didn't get my first full-time job till 2006.
Okay, so you've never worked with anybody that just gets pissed at every little thing? I'm surprised.
Oh, you know what? People get annoyed by everything. Any minor inconvenience. Oh, of course this won't work. Oh, why wouldn't this do that? And they do it to complain more than they do to get angry. And it's like any minor, tiny inconvenience. The amount of time it took for them to complain, it would take for them to troubleshoot what the problem was and fix it themselves.
Exactly,
Or
yeah.
someone else will be like, I got to call IT again, and, I got to do this and do that. And I'm thinking, if you literally just maybe took the 30 seconds to try to, in your mind, say, okay, what's wrong here? You would have figured it out, and you don't have to make a big production out of this. But someone, I think, when the minor inconvenience comes in, they want someone else to fix it for them, and they feel because they're in the workplace, they're entitled for someone else to fix it for them. And I feel bad for the guy that's got to come over and, have to fix that when it's something stupid.
Yeah, and I think it's like that for radio and TV, where people that might be listening to the radio or watching the TV, they think like, oh, this person's always cool, calm, and collected, because that's what they hear. But behind the scenes, it's not always like that.
Yep. All right. Well, it is the day after New Year, and as we get ready to close out the week, let's get close to that short list.
The Marc Cox Short List, brought to you by Agers Heating and Air Conditioning.
We've lost faith in the Postal Service because of the sabotage.
You have the governor who's saying, well, we're setting up task force and, we're trying to put safeguards in place. Oh, really? And then his spokesperson comes out and says, oh, you know what? Donald Trump is trying to muzzle them. No, they're not. They're going to give every opportunity on the record, raising their right hand under oath, and be able to testify and explain to the American people where all of these billions and billions of dollars go.
Yeah, that's Jason Chaffetz, and talking about the hearings, congressional hearings that'll happen in early February to look at what's going on in Minnesota. Yeah, they'll have their chance, and you know what I'm not looking forward to is them saying, I don't have an answer for that over and over again when they know they should have came prepared, and people are angry.
Is this just the tip of the iceberg?
Well, that certainly seems to be indicated by comments that have happened on more than one occasion from the current U.S. Deputy Attorney, former U.S. Attorney in the District of Minnesota, Joe Thompson. He has said that, indeed, this is the tip of the iceberg.
Wow, imagine if they're projecting $9 billion, and that is the tip of the iceberg, because they're finding a lot of people had their hand in this honey jar, and it doesn't just go to child care, it goes to health care, it goes to housing. That could really add up fast.
So here's my promise to you. Today and every time you see me in this chair, you come first. Not advertisers, not politicians, not corporate interests. And yes, that does include the corporate owners of CBS.
So that's CBS News, and they're making a pledge from now on. They got your back. Now, let me say this. Prove it. I will believe it when I see it.
I talked to my radiologist yesterday. He was working on the day before New Year's, and it's all bad news.
It's all bad news for Scott Adams. Unfortunately, he's given an update, and normally he would do a lot of video updates online on Twitter, and recently, if you've seen any Scott Adams videos, it's him sitting in a kind of like a lounger chair and not a lot of movement. It's just him kind of struggling to speak in some ways. He can do it. Of course he can do it. But during this update, we'll play it later in the show. During this update, he said, guys, it might be few and far between from here on out. Doc said it's not good. It's unfortunate. All right. I'm Ryan Recker. If you want to find me online, at Ryan Recker, Ryan Recker Radio on Facebook, another place for you to do that. And coming up after the break, a lot of people are upset with Mamdani already, mostly the people that are supporters of him, the ones that came out and they wanted to see the historic moment when Zohran Mamdani is sworn in. And there was 10,000 supporters that stood outside City Hall for this event. And you had big names like Bernie Sanders. And the people that were there were pretty upset, and I'll tell you why coming up. And I got a couple of clips from it, too. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox, 97.1 FM Talk.
Be sure and join me at Lit Cigar Lounge one of these nights, and you're not going to be sorry. You are going to love what they've done at Lit Cigar Lounge. It is luxurious, but it's comfortable. It's an upscale feel with a state-of-the-art ventilation system, and I just love going out there. Very relaxing, great selection. You've heard me say at the bar, whether you like bourbon like I do, maybe you're a rum or a tequila fan, or you just want a cold beer, they've got it all right there at Lit Cigar Lounge. Private lockers that they have, but you don't have to have a private locker there. You can just go in and enjoy a cigar. You can go in and have a cocktail with your friends. Maybe you take a date in there, have a business meeting. They got plenty of room. They've got a private room in the back if you need it, and they have live music every Friday night. It is family owned and operated. Be sure and say hi to Brian and Andrew when you're in there. Visit litstl.com. Tell them Marc Cox sent you.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Social Security is with you through life's journey from birth to retirement. As your life changes year to year, so do your needs. For over 80 years, Social Security has helped to meet your needs and is committed to improving access to the services that make a difference in your life. Today, you can verify your earnings, estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, manage your benefits, and even change your address, all from the comfort of your home. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox, and I'm happy that I get the chance to be with you again this week. It has been quite the week, filling in for Andy Fry, filling in for Mark Reardon, and filling in for Marc Cox. There's got to be some kind of name for that, like, you know, hitting the cycle in baseball. There's got to be a name for when you get a chance to fill in for all of the hosts in 1 week. I think the only one I didn't fill in for was Brian Kilmeade. But I do Coast to Coast AM, so that's 4 things on the station that I was on in 1 week. That's a lot. I need to get Brian Kilmeade. Maybe Mary Walters is someone that I'm a friend with, and she fills in for Brian Kilmeade. She does a better job than I ever could do, so I don't think that's ever going to happen. She's so good at that show. All right. Well, if you're watching us on the live video feed, thank you for joining us there. Also, if you want to interact with the show, you can do that through the video comments. That's kind of cool. Nicole Murray from This Morning with Gordon Deal is going to join us here in about 15 minutes from now. I wanted to play a couple of clips from Zohran Mamdani, and he was very, very optimistic about the future of New York, even though a lot of people are very, very not optimistic about the future of New York.
My fellow New Yorkers, today begins a new era. I stand before you, moved by the privilege of taking this sacred oath, humbled by the faith that you have placed in me, and honored to serve as either your 111th or 112th mayor of New York City.
I guess I don't understand that joke. Maybe I missed that because that got a minor laugh. What does that mean? I don't know. Do you know what that means, Drew?
Is that a Eric Adams dig, or is that it's a New York thing, probably.
It's a New York thing. Also, if someone in the comments wants to let us know what the hilarious Mamdani was referring to there, that would be great. All right, here's Bernie Sanders. He's pretty excited about this.
You took on the Democratic establishment.
Bernie is doing Bernie. Hold on, I'm going to pause it there. There's a classic Bernie impersonation thing you can pick up on. It's when he starts talking up instead of talking down. Like, when some people try to conclude a thought, they wind down. When Bernie Sanders tries to conclude a thought, he winds up. So you can hear it right away.
You took on the Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, the President of the United States, and some enormously wealthy oligarchs. And you defeated them in the biggest political upset in modern American history.
All right, he's so pumped up. Is it the biggest upset in modern American history? I'm going to just point out that in the election between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, that Donald Trump had a 2% chance of winning. What were the odds of him defeating Hillary? Not good. So I would say Mamdani winning as a Democrat in New York is a lot more likely than, Democrat in name in the sense that's how you found him on the ballot, but we're talking about, Marxist socialist here. But as Donald Trump, and no one saw him winning, to the point where everyone mocked him, and then he won that night in 2012. What a night that was. That was a much bigger upset here for President of the United States. And so many other people are coming up and they're talking about this new era and everything else that this represents. Letitia James.
Represents hope and prosperity. Listen, I was the first African-American woman elected citywide as well as statewide. I know a little bit about making history, and today we're making history, but it represents promise, and it represents all of us being...
You hear that music in the background, too? What is that? That's like 90s, Pump Up the Jam, Jock Jam stuff.
I know a little bit about making history, and today we're making history, but it represents promise, and it represents all of us being together collectively.
And you hear in the background,
history, but it represents promise, and it represents all of us being together collectively, focusing on the issue of affordability and trying to address the needs of New Yorkers and Americans as a whole.
It sounds like they're jamming out there, doesn't it, Producer Drew? They are just out there. They are partying, going at it.
I got an update for you, too.
Yeah.
So apparently there was a record-keeping error in 1670 for mayor.
Okay.
That's why I made the joke.
Oh, I see. So I would say that's quite the inside joke. All right, well, thank you for the clarification. That's good. But they're really partying out there. Did you hear them just dancing and singing and having a great time with Mamdani? Well, as it turns out, the 10,000 supporters that were out there were freezing. They were cold. And it was billed as an inauguration for a new era block party by Mamdani himself. And apparently they crammed into this area with no food and no bathrooms. There was nothing for them. So basically they showed up at a random park area. They had a big screen up there so they can watch what was going on if they were too far away from the stage. And there was no place for them to go to the bathroom, which, all things considered, it's New York. They probably used the ground anyway. And the other side is no concessions. Why? Because it's looked at as too capitalist, that you might get a food truck or two out there to maybe give some food to people that want to pay for it. Would that be looked at as too bad when you're a socialist Marxist that you can't have food trucks out there, that people may actually accidentally contribute to capitalism?
You got to order the same thing.
Would you not call that a lame block party? Like, why? That's not a block party. They're out there like everything's good. The other thing that is kind of stupid about all this, you show up to these events, you understand. Okay, you think that there's not always going to be food. I get it, but at least bring some porta-johns in there. Like, if let's say you brought your kids. One, what's wrong with you? Like, it's New Year's Day and it's cold out and you're going to drag your kids to go see the Marxist Socialist. But 2, at least if you did, there would be, what are you going to do if your kids got to use the bathroom? Seriously, you're telling them, kids, we're going to have to go find a nearby bush and we're going to have to do what the homeless people do here in New York. What else are you going to do? Or you just leave altogether and say, this is so stupid. What am I waiting around for this? Can I also say, there's something really phony about people that smile all the time. You notice that? So if you ever look at Mamdani, he's always smiling, always waving. That is so phony when there are politicians and people that every time they're in public, it's the happiest day of their life, happiest day of their life. Can't you just be a normal person? Do you have to pretend all the time that everything's great? Like, I look at that and I say, that doesn't give me confidence that this guy's a good leader. It basically confirms the fact that I think he's a phony. So he's up there. He's wearing the black gloves like O.J. Simpson. And did you notice his wife? The New York Post did a thing about his wife wearing these $650 boots to the inauguration. So she's up there and he's being sworn in on the Quran, and it's at the subway that's closed down. And they take these pictures and they're like, wow, for a Marxist socialist, man, they like to spend some money now, don't they? Of course, that's how it works. It's always the people on the low end of it are starving to death while the people on the high end get the nice stuff. So she's wearing the $650 boots. And I thought to myself, I don't even care at this point. Like, you're free to spend your money and do whatever you want with it. But the moment you say that other people aren't free with their money because it's not their money, it's the government's money, and the government has the right to take away your money that you earned at any time they want because you have too much and some people have too little, then what they're going to do is it's the social justice thing to do to redistribute this wealth. Then all of a sudden these $650 boots don't fit into that equation. So either you're a capitalist and you believe in these things, or you're a socialist and you don't. So dump the expensive junk and the designer crap that you don't need. It should be as simple as that. I know coming up after the break, we have our friend Nicole Murray. And producer Drew, should I bring up what they said about the chunky on air?
100%.
All right. So Nicole Murray this morning said, did you just call me chunky? This morning with Gordon Deal. If you missed it, we're going to ask her about that coming up, too, as she brings you some business headlines and things you need to know on the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
You know, there's a certain way we do things around here, the Grasser way.
The Grasser way?
We don't cut corners and we don't take shortcuts. Not on the little stuff and not on the big stuff.
We do the big stuff.
That's right. Whole home generators that kick on the moment the grid gives up. Lights stay on, heat stays on, your family stays safe. So your house stays warm.
And your ice cream stays frozen.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Last month, my business
business cash flow got tight. Sales were slow, invoices were late, and payroll was coming fast. My business is everything, and people rely on me. I can't let them down. I applied online at lendseek.com and had business funding in 24 hours.
Business moves fast. Don't wait until it's too late. Whether it's lines of credit, term loans, working capital funding, or revenue-based financing, LendSeek is open for business. Apply now at lendseek.com.
Are your windows drafty, outdated, or hard to open? Choose Infinity from Marvin Windows. Crafted from durable fiberglass for superior energy efficiency, beauty, and performance. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we specialize in custom-fit professional window installations that transform your home. Plus, with our lifetime workmanship warranty, you'll have peace of mind for years to come. Call Lakeside today or visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free window consultation. Replace with confidence. Choose Infinity from Marvin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code NEXT for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code NEXT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code NEXT.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Dear employer,
my name is Phil Martin.
My name is Michael Roskovich.
Ronaldo Bird.
Zach Deiser.
I am writing to express my excitement at the opportunity to join your team.
As someone on the spectrum,
I possess a unique set of skills
that sets me apart from other candidates.
My detail-oriented nature allows me to communicate complex ideas,
to break down data,
to have no fear in meeting new people.
I may communicate in ways that are different from what you are used to.
Structure, routine,
and clear expectation.
Help me do my best work.
My autism allows me to have a perspective that needs to be seen and heard.
It allows me to make the world safer and improve systems in ways others can't. It allows me to bring people's inner worlds to life with my artwork.
My autism
will bring your team important insights.
Thank you for your consideration.
An autistic inclusive workplace is good for business. It's time to make a change. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/win.
Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox on this last day of the week, Friday morning. And joining us now from This Morning with Gordon Deal, Nicole Murray. Good morning.
Friday.
Hi, Nicole. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
What's this, them calling you Chunky on the show? I caught some of that segment. I was laughing out loud. I'm getting ready, preparing, and then I hear that. What is going on?
Michael Gavin filling in for Gordon Deal. We have been having a heated debate all week long about whether or not New Year's resolutions are something worth giving a try to, because the average person quits after just 17 days. And Mike Gavin is very much against them. So, keeping I guess while he was passionately speaking, it became well, you're just going to quit after 17 days and you started chunky and you ended chunky, so take that. Oh, my goodness, I was speechless.
Oh man, you cannot do that. One time I was preparing to go out and I called my dog Chunky and my wife thought I said it to her. I was pretty much in the doghouse for a week after that. Nicole, I mean, I don't know how you can do that with a coworker, put a coworker in the doghouse, but I think you have that authority.
It's okay. Every time they give me problems about doing videos now, I'm going to be like, remember that time you called me Chunky?
You'll never forget. Never,
You'll
ever,
never forget.
ever, ever. All right, so what's going on with the markets on a week like this?
All right. Not much. I'm not going to lie to you, but here we go. Futures are moderately lower. Wednesday, the Dow Industrials lost 303. The Nasdaq down 177. The S&P 500 down 50. SSM Health and United Healthcare have agreed to extend their current contract for 30 days after stalled negotiations threatened in-network medical coverage for thousands of people. SSM said it will continue working with United Healthcare on a multi-year agreement. The Pentagon has announced Boeing St. Louis workers will build 25 new fighter jets for Israel's Air Force. The new $8.6 billion contract is part of the F-15 Israel program and provides for the design, integration, instrumentation, test production, and delivery for over 24 new F-15IA aircraft, with an option to buy an additional 25 more. President Trump has signed a New Year's Eve proclamation delaying increased tariffs on upholstered furniture, kitchen cabinets, and vanities for a year, citing ongoing trade talks. Trump's order keeps in place a 25% tariff he imposed in September on those goods, but delays a 30% tariff on upholstered furniture and 50% tariff on kitchen cabinets and vanities. The increases were set to take effect yesterday. The Italian Foreign Ministry says the United States has sharply lowered proposed new duties on several Italian pasta makers following a preliminary review of their alleged anti-dumping activities. In October, the United States said 13 Italian pasta companies would face an extra 92% duty. That's on top of the regular 15% tariff on most EU imports. Elon Musk's brain implant company Neuralink will start high-volume production of brain-computer interface devices and move to an entirely automated surgical procedure in 2026. The first patient has used it to play video games, browse the internet, post on social media, and move a cursor on a laptop. And finally, scientists say you are not wasting your time when you share animal content with friends and family. The practice boosts positive emotions, increases feelings of closeness, and helps people bond through low-pressure communication.
That does make me feel good whenever I see something non-political that someone's sharing with me. Pets are always a positive thing.
I mean, non-political, pets are just its own category of cute, not to mention, a lot of people almost value their pets more than relationships with people.
Yep. No, I get that. And there was a radio station I worked at in Fort Wayne, and back in the day, it was part of Westinghouse. So it was the biggest powerful network, but it was the smallest station of this biggest network. And the morning show host would get like 75 share in the market. It was unbelievable. And he would do things like, little Miss Betsy lost her dog, and we're going to go find it later. And the PDs would go crazy. They're saying, you have a 75% share. No one cares about Betsy and her dog. But the reason people listened to him because he cared about the people so much. It was little things like that worked, the going on the dog hunts. So people absolutely do. They relate to that. It's emotional to them.
I mean, it's emotional. I mean, even like pet content now, a lot of things that are going viral are of people recording giving their dogs Christmas gifts and how crazy they go for it and that they know to unwrap and they know it's for them and they get so excited. So it's definitely puts a smile on your face. That's for sure.
The story you did right before that, Neuralink's automated
Yes.
procedure. So they're putting brain chips in automated?
It sounds like it's something that's going to be much more ironed out, if you will. This is a procedure that they have done on a few patients previously, but it sounds like it's going to become a bit easier to do moving forward. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that movie Old Country for Old Men, the guy going around with the little cattle prod thing. Like, that's what I think about Neuralink. They're going to inject it into your brain that way.
Wait, I'm not familiar. What do you mean?
It's that one, was it No Country for Old Men, and it's the guy, it's kind of like Tommy Lee Jones is on the other side, and and I forgot the actor's name, fantastic movie, but he's like this serial killer type of deal, and he's got this like cattle pressure thing that I don't. Okay, let me just say this: if you were to look it up on YouTube, you'll know exactly what I mean, and maybe you
Okay.
shouldn't because it might ruin your weekend. Nicole Murray, thank you so much. It's good hearing from you.
Thanks so much, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year as well. She's so awesome, by the way. She is so cool. Producer Drew, I have an idea for you because we need to get better productivity at the radio station.
Okay.
And what we're really worried about when it comes to the future of the radio station is that producers like yourself are not contributing as much as they could. So I have a new idea. Okay. This is in the Wall Street Journal. What we're going to do is start handing out free nicotine patches and pouches because that'll boost productivity. If we instead, let's say we give free coffee out, that's a stimulant. We give free tea out. There's little courtesy things like that. Filtered water if you want something that's nice and cold. You got the good ice machine there.
We do
But
got a great
what
ice
really,
machine.
Yeah. What really boosts productivity, nicotine. So even if you're not someone that smokes, we're going to get you on it because get those little boosts during the day. We think you'll be humming like a hummingbird, and then you'll actually do more things as a producer. Are you on board?
I'm not on board. I'm not a nicotine guy, so.
You need to be because we need you. Aren't you a team player?
I
We need to get you hooked.
I'd rather do the Neuralink. Give me a Neuralink. How about that?
You would let the Neuralink, like, okay, we're just going to strap you onto this board, and we'll just have the computer do the rest. You'll just like clunk, clunk the chips in your brain.
I don't think that's how it's done, but I just don't want to be the first guy. You know, let me be like the 1,000th.
Well, the first guy sounds like it's successful. I guess if you had no other option and you're a paraplegic and this gives you an opportunity to have some independence, then, yeah, you're like, oh, I'll give it a shot. But if you're an able-bodied person in this chip, what would it do? Like, let's say the chip.
One thing you can do, you can learn languages faster.
How?
I don't know.
I don't understand how the chip helps you do that.
That's just what it says from the guy who's gotten it. The guy, I think he had like MS or something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he said it helps him. He can play video games just by looking at it. He can learn. That's what he said. He can learn languages faster.
So you would be a fool not to get the brain chip.
I don't know. Even Jimmy, Mr. Beast, said he would get it.
No way. I had this conspiracy some years ago, and I'm going to stick by this conspiracy. Back when the brain chip thing was new. So let's look at all the different industries Elon Musk is involved with. He's got the cars that went to self-driving cars. Okay, I get that. He's got a rocket ship, go up to space. He wants to go to the moon. He wants to go to Mars. Okay, he's successful. He's able to bring the rockets back down safely and reuse them. That's a big part of the cost. He's actually saved astronauts on the International Space Station. That's awesome. Like, it's unbelievable that a private company is able to do these things. He's got the solar panels. He's working on that. That's a pretty big deal. He's got the boring company where you can go and dig into the ground and make tunnels. That's a pretty big deal. He's got the satellites for internet. Like, he's got these things going on with whatever it's called, the NeuroNet or whatever. And now he's got these little chips that go into people's brains. So some people say, and very smart people, if you look at all the different companies Elon Musk has started, it all points to things that you would need to go to Mars. So you need a rocket. Okay, he's got that. Once you get to Mars, you're going to need some sort of shelter. And since the radiation's so powerful, the shelter's got to be underground. Okay, they got a boring company, so they have the technology for that. Well, you're going to need energy. How are you going to do that? Well, we got solar panels, okay, and you need a place to store it. Well, you got the batteries from your cars, so you can store the energy that way too. All of these things, it's like boom, 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 all pointing to that. I am going to go in the opposite conspiracy direction and say, yes, that's likely about Mars, but there's another thing that can happen. About 10 years ago, Tesla did something that every other car maker in the world started to consider a revolution. Like, if you think about seatbelts and airbags, about 10 years ago, Tesla did something that was a game changer, which was they'll send updates to the car remotely. So if there's instead of bringing the car in for a recall and there's some technological glitch, they can update your car remotely and fix the problem in your car. So they have the satellites. Their Wi-Fi is just zooming by us right now. And let's say they put this chip in your head. Who's to say they can't automatically access that chip in your head remotely like they do their cars.
I'm sure they 100% can, but
that's my conspiracy. That's what they're trying to do.
But there's already psyops that exist, so they're working on. They're just doing it. They have the chip in your brain socially,
So you're saying they don't need the chip?
They don't.
They got you. They got you to do what they want.
Exactly.
You're already a zombie.
Exactly.
And as you are listening to this segment, you're probably looking at your phone right now. See, that's the sign. They got you. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Take me home tonight. Oh, down beside that red firelight.
Hey, it's your main man, Jimmy Fallon, and I am headed your way. Saturday, January 24th at the Factory in Chesterfield. We are defunding the joke police. So grab your tickets at 971fmtalk.com/events, and I will see you in the loo.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My wife and I had a plan early on. In our firm, our lawyers only work on certain types of cases. Our products liability and dangerous drug lawyers only work on those cases. Same for car crashes, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, and insurance disputes. Our thinking is for these lawyers to focus on one area of the law and live it and breathe it. Power comes from knowledge. Many lawyers do everything, jack of all trades. Not us, and we don't charge an hourly rate. You only pay us if we win. If you want to hire us, it's easy. Dial Pound Law on your cell phone, pound 529, or visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer from the comfort of your own home. Let us get to work for you. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing, not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Find out how to build your retirement on your terms.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
Join host Steve All for the All Financial Hour, Saturday mornings at 6 or Saturday afternoon at 4, here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy weight gain or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
This holiday season, when you get them Steel, batteries are included. Buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit SteelUSA.com for gift ideas and seasonal savings. Happy holidays from Steel. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Missouri Grit. Marc Cox on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. So if you already had breakfast this morning, I want you to be prepared to lose it after I play a couple of clips for you. I'm sorry. It may be so gross that you cannot keep it down. So let that be a warning, because these things happen sometimes. There's a few things going on in the world today, and unrest in Iran is a big one. So just a couple of days ago, you had at Mar-a-Lago President Donald Trump hosting Zelensky to talk about the United States' plan to bring peace between Russia and Ukraine. It seems like Ukraine, I think at the latest estimate, Donald Trump said 95% there. Zelensky said they're about 90% there. And what will Russia be? That answer is probably closer to 5% there. Like it seems low. Doesn't seem like they're anywhere near making a deal. But then again, crazier things have happened, and sometimes the headlines and the stories that you get are opposite of what's happening in real life, so I'm not confident in my assessment, but it doesn't sound great. Next day, you have at Mar-a-Lago, Benjamin Netanyahu is in town. They have a meeting. They talk about the ceasefire and the plan moving forward for a long-term peace deal. That is a big, big thing. And someone asked President Trump, hey, what's up with Iran? There's uprising there? Do you support the uprising? Do you think that there's some problems there? And pretty much he went out and just he gave a diss track to Iran. He said, their people are, he didn't call them savages. What did he used a term for it, but they're brutal and their money is deflated and their economy's garbage. And every time there's some sort of protest, they kill their own people. And, he's trash talking Iran, and rightfully so, because everything he says is true, truthful too. I mean, Iran's not a good place to be. So the big headlines here, unrest spreads across Iran. That seems to be the big one. And a lot of people are talking about getting rid of the people in power there, and they're just not happy with the things are going. Let's couple that with what's going on in New York, New York. Instead, they say, you know what we need? We need a socialist Marxist to run the biggest city in the United States. And you know who loves it? A former mayor himself, Bill de Blasio on CNN. Get ready to lose your lunch on this. Here we go.
I think this was, in many ways, a love song to New York from Mamdani. It was actually quite poetic, the way he talked about the city and our people. And I think that's something that should not be underestimated. He has a unifying voice in terms of love of the city and the neighborhoods, but a very distinct focus on working-class New Yorkers and celebrating them and what they've achieved. Even though people hear about the big famous names in New York, he really focuses on working people.
I was going to pause it there for a second. So he supports working class people up to a certain point. Then you've worked too much and you've made too much. Then he doesn't support you anymore.
Even though people hear about the big famous names in New York, he really focuses on working people. And I thought he did an incredibly effective job of saying, I'm going to shoot for the stars here. I'm going to really try and make big changes. But he didn't say, look, we're going to succeed every time. He said, the only way we're going to find out what's possible is to be audacious.
Bill de Blasio is just looking at those $650 boots, and he's saying to himself, this is how you get things done in New York City. You don't roll your sleeves up. You put on your $650 boots, and you tell billionaires to get with the program. Well, billionaires are leaving, and people are tired of it. And much like COVID, a lot of businesses moved out to begin with. If you're a small business and you were trying to make it in New York City, and New York City says you're not allowed to go out or go into buildings or work, it pretty much closed a lot of the small-time family businesses, the ones that depended on these little shops. And if you were to go back to New York today and maybe even go to YouTube and look at some of these different videos, people are going to point out, this is where businesses used to be. Now they're just vacant small buildings. It's kind of a shame. This is another one. If you haven't lost your lunch yet, you want to hear Rosie O'Donnell's voice? So she responded to Kellyanne Conway's comments on Fox News. Did not like what Kellyanne Conway had to say about her.
Now, what can I tell you? I got a little text that the Fox News idiots, Kellyanne Conway being the queen idiot, said that I need to get a dog or a husband in order to be happy and get over my Trump derangement syndrome.
She's upset.
I've been an out lesbian for many, many years, Kellyanne. You decrepit Barbie wannabe.
What does that mean?
I don't need a man any more than you need a butch woman to come and rock your world. Because trust me, things would be a little different.
Okay, did you lose your lunch there, Drew? Okay,
Gross.
Breakfast time, it's over. So Rosie O'Donnell saying you need a butch woman to rock your world? All right, I think that does it. We're just going to end the show there and go dead air for the next 2 hours. Is that okay? That's all we need to do. Oh, Rosie. Remember when she had a show in the 90s and her main thing was, I'm going to take these little swoosh balls or whatever they call them and throw them into the audience. We're going to take them like Dennis the Menace, and we're going to propel them just like Dennis the Menace into the audience, and that was like pinnacle TV in the 90s for talk shows. It was before your time, Drew. You wouldn't understand.
97.
It was different in the 90s. You were born in 97?
Yeah.
It was a different time. Things were so much cooler, man, in the 90s. I was in high school in 97. Respect your elders here and gather around and listen to how great the times were. Back when you can go into a shop and see, look at Lisa. I see those emojis. Thank you, Lisa. I'm not the only one that felt that way this morning. Back in the 90s, you can get a Fruitopia out of a vending machine or a Surge. You can go to Taco Bell, and they're like 79 cents a taco, and they were open up late, and you knew exactly what you're getting, and it was delicious. Back in the 90s, you could turn on TV, and Saturday Night Live was funny. You know, there's so much that was going for it in the 90s. You always, of course, couldn't stay up that late, so you'd have to set your VCRs and make sure the schedule was set properly to time it out to work that way. Back in the 90s, you know, gas was $1 a gallon. Oh, man, wasn't that awesome? Everyone drove beaters. Where I'm at, you saw that all the time, and no one thought twice about it. There was some sort of camaraderie. It felt good. Like, even making minimum wage felt good. It was so strange growing up in the 90s. Now we have Rosie O'Donnell talking about a butch woman rocking your world. Ugh. That's how far we've fallen as a society. On 97.1 FM Talk. Don't go anywhere.
You own a home, you know that things happen sometimes you wish you didn't have to deal with. A leaky basement certainly ranks way up there, right? It's annoying. You know every time you get a heavy rain, you got to go down there and either put down towels or you know right where the spot is, generally speaking. Hopefully you don't have more than one. But my friend Matt Hayes can fix all that. He's with Home Shield Foundation Repairs. He runs this local company. He's the expert. He's the guy. If you ask somebody, do you have a guy who deals with wet basements? I have a guy. His name is Matt Hayes. Call him at 314-227-9636. Matt will come out there. He'll take a look at it. He promises to let the basement speak for itself. That means he's not going to try to beat you up and upsell you on stuff you don't need. He's just going to take care of the problem. And after he's done with whatever it is, he's going to give you a lifetime warranty. Call him today at 314-227-9636 or online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Marie, is that you?
Oh, hi, Barb. How you doing?
Better now. Did you know we had a little health scare with Jeff?
Oh, no. What happened?
Well, he had been short of breath and was really tired a lot of the time. He just thought he was getting old and was out of shape, but it turns out it was heart valve disease.
How did you figure it out?
He finally went to the doctor, and she was able to listen to his heart and detected the problem. I didn't realize it, but heart valve disease is more common than you'd think. They were able to replace the valve, and he's feeling so much better now.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
More than 5 million Americans are diagnosed with heart valve disease every year, but most people know nothing about the condition, and it can be deadly if untreated. That's why it's important to listen to your heart and ask your doctor if your symptoms may be due to heart valve disease or if you're at high risk. A message brought to you by Heart Valve Voice US. For more information about the symptoms and treatments for valve disease, go to heartvalvevoice-us.org.
A powerful threat calls for a greater response.
When there's a battle, bring strength.
When there's a problem, seek answers.
When there is doubt, give hope. Not tomorrow.
Not in a few years.
But right now.
Some battles must be faced together. Cancer fighters stand up to cancer every day. And you can be part of this battle too.
Visit standuptocancer.org/American Airlines to learn more.
Together, we can save lives.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
A warning to Iran and a boast about his health. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump has posted both early this morning on Truth Social. First, as economic protests in Iran rage a sixth day, leading to 7 deaths, the president wrote,
"If Iran kills protesters, the U.S. will come to their rescue, that we are locked and loaded and ready to go." An advisor to the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, said any interventionist hand that gets too close to the security of Iran will be cut. The former Speaker of the Parliament wrote that Trump should know intervention by the U.S. corresponds to a destruction of U.S. interests.
That's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. On the other Truth Social post, the president wrote a short time ago he's in perfect health and aced a cognitive test a third straight time, adding it's an exam no other president was willing to take. This after a Wall Street Journal interview focused on reports he's showing his age, now 79.
Since returning to the White House, cameras have caught the president appearing to fall asleep in meetings. The president telling the Journal, "Sometimes they'll take a picture of me blinking, and they'll catch me with the blink." The president also says bruising that has been seen on his hand is due to the large dose of aspirin he takes daily, despite being encouraged by doctors to take a lower dose.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson in West Palm Beach near the Trump Florida resort. Now to the mayor of New York City, the president calls a communist. It's day 2 in office for Zoran Mamdani, who has already signed executive orders on housing and tenant protection, saying at his inauguration he'll run the city as a democratic socialist and not fear being called a radical.
We will govern without shame and insecurity, making no apology for what we believe.
They're still trying to identify the victims of a New Year's Day disaster in the Swiss Alps. A fire broke out in a bar an hour and a half into 2026. This man was there.
And a lot of people were screaming, trying to escape, and I saw a lot of people on the floor, and I think these people was dead.
40 people were killed, some of them foreign tourists celebrating the New Year in Switzerland, another 115 injured. America's listening to Fox News.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captid Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
The federal crackdown continues into alleged fraud in Minnesota. The Small Business Administration says it's uncovered widespread suspected fraud, nearly $400 million worth, so in COVID loans, so it's blocking nearly 7,000 borrowers. This after Health and Human Services suspended child care payments to Minnesota over multi-billion-dollar fraud allegations.
And now Minnesota is facing more scrutiny over a new law that took effect yesterday. Critics warning it could be abused as the next billion-dollar fraud. It's a new paid leave program that allows up to 12 weeks a year off with partial pay to care for a newborn or a sick family member, and up to 12 weeks a year to recover from a serious illness. State officials, though, saying this, quote, paid leave has launched with strong systems in place to verify identities and work histories and to detect and prevent fraud.
Fox's Chanley Painter. Actor Will Smith is being sued, accused of sexual harassment.
Court documents obtained by Fox News Digital say the former Fresh Prince of Bel-Air star is being sued by Brian Joseph, a professional violinist. The lawsuit claims Smith was deliberately grooming and priming Mr. Joseph for further sexual exploitation. The complaint filed against the award-winning actor and associates with Trey Ball Studios management. Representatives for Smith not responding to Fox with comment. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stocks could rise to start the new year. Dow futures up nearly 200 points after gaining 13% in 2025. The Nasdaq surged up 20% last year. In the college football playoffs, Mississippi kicks its way into the semifinals.
And it is good!
And after that last-minute field goal, Ole Miss added a safety, beating Georgia 39-34 on ESPN, moving on to face Miami next Thursday. Top-seeded and undefeated Indiana also advanced, blowing out Alabama 38-3. The Hoosiers will play the Ducks a week from today in the semifinals after Oregon shut out Texas Tech 23-0. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our weather pattern's kind of stuck in a rut. No big storms, no big cold, no big warmth. Mostly cloudy skies in play on this Friday. 44 for the high temperature. It's a little chilly out the door. Tonight, clouds dominate, 27. Saturday, partly sunny and a chilly 39. Clear skies Saturday night, 25. And Sunday, partly sunny, 45. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
And welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. And one of the big headlines you're going to see this morning is what happened to Tommy Lee Jones's daughter. Tommy Lee Jones, I think he's 79, just turned 79 a few months ago. And his daughter, 34 years old, was found at a ritzy hotel by guests. They believe she could have passed out from drinking. They found her, alerted hotel staff. They came up. She was unresponsive on the ground at the hotel. They tried CPR, called for an ambulance, paramedics, unsuccessful. She died at the scene. And it's just kind of this big mystery and tragedy because, 34 years old, out at a ritzy hotel. I mean, I don't know much about her in the past, but there's all these different photos of Tommy Lee Jones. We were just talking about No Country for Old Men, and he was, part of that. But you find these things, and it's just sad all the way around. That's one of the top headlines you're going to start seeing, I'm sure, over the next couple of days as people try to figure that out. I saw Will Smith was sued for sexual harassment. That's another headline you'll see. Some of the different things that are trending this morning, it seems like between tariffs and between foreign affairs and between fraud of the government in Minnesota and beyond, there's just a lot to cover. Let's go to the short list.
The Marc Cox short list.
You took on the Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, the President of the United States.
Oh, boy. Bernie Sanders is a big Mamdani fan. I guess if Bernie Sanders were ever to become president, we're going to see what could have happened to the country under his leadership based on the way New York is going to move here now that Mamdani is their mayor.
I think this was, in many ways, a love song to New York from Mamdani. It was actually quite poetic, the way he talked about the city and our people. And I think that's something that should not be underestimated. He has a unifying voice in terms of love of the city and the neighborhoods, but a very distinct focus on working-class New Yorkers.
Very distinct hatred towards people of wealth. It's so funny. Wait until Mamdani starts to amass some wealth, because he will. All these different people in Congress where they will get in, they'll insider trade, they'll make a ton of money. Their salary is $150 or $250, whatever it is for some of these different congressmen, but their net worth's in the tens of millions of dollars. And you'll say, wait a minute, this don't add up. They're getting their money from somewhere. Just wait until the first articles come out of just how wealthy Mamdani is and the hypocrisy around it.
And we need to be very clear now that we're in 2026 that not all cultures are equal, not all civilizations are equal. We need to be teaching about the virtues of Western civilization. There's a reason that 200,000 Somalis are living in the United States, and spoiler, there are 0 Americans living in Somalia.
That is a Harvard alumnus speaking very clearly about not all cultures are equal. Maybe we'll play that full clip after the short list, but it's an interesting thought coming from Harvard.
My fellow New Yorkers, today begins a new era. I stand before you, moved by the privilege of taking this sacred oath.
Okay. Which the oath he, by the way, took earlier in the day, and then this was more ceremonial after the fact. Part of the ceremony, as we mentioned last hour, was all the people upset that showed up to see this, like ceremonial swearing in. And they said, wait a minute, there's no food, there's nothing to drink, there's no places for us to purchase while we wait anything because we're hungry. And, if I got to use the bathroom, there's no porta-johns. So are you telling me that you couldn't have figured this stuff out ahead of time? Which really is indicative of the way Mamdani's going to run New York. You really didn't think that through, did you? That's going to be the new motto of New York. We really didn't think this through. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox. If you want to find me online at Ryan Recker or Ryan Recker Radio. I want to go back to Minnesota and some of the fraud that continues to be uncovered there. And one of the interesting developments here is their independent journalist, Nick Shirley, being propelled into the national light. And rightfully so. He deserves a lot of this attention in a positive way. Unfortunately, the attention that he's receiving seems to be in a negative way, because what their main contention with Nick Shirley is that, well, you may have uncovered something powerful here, but don't you understand now Somalians as a whole are going to be persecuted based on you doing journalism? So you are actually the baddie. You're the bad guy for bringing this up. Why couldn't you just leave these poor Somalians alone? And Nick Shirley has said that he continues to get death threats. He was on a podcast, and people are warning him, and they said, quote unquote, he's going to be kirked, referring to the political assassination of Charlie Kirk. And this YouTuber, is just a part of it. I mean, at the age of 23, I'm so impressed with what he was able to accomplish with this documentary. I've seen a lot of 23-year-olds do videos on the streets. They're nowhere near the level of how thorough Nick Shirley is. So Nick Shirley said, I can just show you a video, and I can show you a video of an empty building, and I can say, that's strange. Why is there no one here? He takes it a step further. He says, what we're going to do is pull government documents. We're going to know exactly how much money they're receiving, what services they're offering, when they're offering the services, and we're going to go and we're going to try to talk to these people and to show that there is no services being rendered. I mean, he went through every scenario to prove the fraud is existing in these places. And I know he'll stand by it. Good for him. Early February, when the congressional panel gets together, I think it's going to be important for him to testify. And from what I've seen so far, I know he's going to knock it out of the park. But more and more people are starting to look at this too. Not as thorough as Nick Shirley, but still, what they decide to do is, I'm going to pull some records and see what I can find that's in the public record. And there's a very popular Twitter account called Libs of TikTok. If you're not familiar with them, they're a good follow. And they can be very funny at times, but someone that is very good as an account to point out the hypocrisies of the left, but in some ways the abuses and the threats of the left, just how violent they are, and including threats to high-ranking officials. They point out very quickly some of these Somalians that are going on now to social media and talking about trying to kill Nick Shirley, kill politicians that are looking into this. Here is this account, and what they did was they decided to kind of show their own little investigation, how easy it is to uncover some fraud. So this was what the video they posted.
So I went down the Minnesota fake daycare, healthcare rabbit hole, and I came across this address in Burnsville, and it's basically this building, totally unmarked. We found 9 healthcare companies running out of here. There's for sure more. We only found 9. They all have Somali names.
And to show you, because you're not actually seeing this, if you were to go to the Twitter account and look at it, you'd see it better. But it looks like an apartment building. It's not a place that you would go to for healthcare. It does. It looks like your standard college apartment building.
One of them, Grace Care Center, which is run by Saeed Ahmad. We looked into their website. They claim to have a facility here for kids with autism.
Now they're looking at the website of this said healthcare provider for kids with autism.
This is their site. Tons and tons of red flags. We cure your chill. So if you want your chill to leer,
They it's misspelled child, much like the Learning Center, the Leering Center. What did it say?
This is their site. Tons and tons of red flags. We cure your chill.
We cure your chill. Okay. So if you're going to withdraw millions of dollars in federal funds and someone out there is going to have to approve this, and you go to the website, because if you can't go and do a site visit, and you go to their website to see if they look legit, and all of it looks like it's AI slop, misspelled, broken English, you're going to sign off on that?
So if you want your chill to Lear, you can send them to the Grace Care Center to Lear in this Somali Leering Center.
And again, they show the address on Google Maps, and it looks like a college apartment complex. We're not talking like high-end town houses or anything like that, because even that is questionable. But no one is getting medical care there. It'd be like you going into a college town and saying, I'm going to bring my child to what looks like was throwing a kegger 10 minutes ago and let them take care of them. No one does. So it took her, I mean, just from the basic resources of what were available through public record, and her just doing a tiny bit of research, was able to find, what was it, 10 or 11 that were in that one building? There was zero oversight here. Absolutely ridiculous. We're going to keep talking about that coming up after the break. And from Fox News Radio, Ryan Schmelz is going to check in with us. First time in the new year. Looking forward to that. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in on the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Is on a run. Tell me now it's untrue.
2026 is going to mean exciting things for my friends over at Victory Men's Health. They're going to open up a brand new building out in Edwardsville, and that's exciting. They already have an office off Greenmount Road in O'Fallon, Illinois. So they got you covered in Illinois and in Missouri. 3 different locations, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Sunset Hills. Why is that important? Because just about wherever you are in the sound of my voice, there's a Victory Men's Health not that far away. You reach out to them, say, listen, I heard Marc Cox talking about this, and as a guy, I admit that I don't take good enough care of myself. I'm constantly supporting the family and working hard and playing hard. You need Victory Men's Health. They do cardiovascular screening. They do cancer screening. They can help you with hormone optimization, weight loss, vitamin deficiencies, and sexual health. Make your appointment today and tell them Marc Cox sent you. It's pretty easy. Just go online to victorymenshealth.com.
Your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
It's 2026. Time to get your home zero resified. 3 rooms of carpet clean, starting at just $119, plus a free hallway and 15% off regularly priced services when you mention 97.1 FM Talk. It's ZeroResSTL.com.
When storm damage strikes or it's just time for a new roof, call my friend Cornelius at C. Marion Roofing. This is Ryan Wiggins. I've used him multiple times for roofs and bathrooms. He's licensed and insured for both homes and businesses. Start to finish, he'll handle your insurance claim and get you the job done right, fast, reliable, and with quality you can count on. I can testify to that. Call C. Marion Roofing today, 314-399-2140. That's 314-399-2140. Or type in C. Marion Roofing for all your projects.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox this Friday morning. It's the day after New Year, and what a wild week it has been. I feel like I've been with you all week. In your mind, too. So if you want to reach me, Ryan Recker Radio on Facebook, that's one of the ways you can reach out. At Ryan Recker on Twitter. So this fraud hearing, it's going to continue, and it's not really slowing down, which I'm happy that leading into February, I think you have a lot of people trying to uncover a lot of things, and it should be a priority. If you're talking about the federal government and billions of dollars being wasted, that's a big deal, particularly when the people have been operating with immunity, and perhaps the people have also thought they had the protection of the politicians that were sympathetic to them during the same time. Here's what I think needs to happen, because let me do this. I'm going to play this clip from Jason Chaffetz, Minnesota fraud hearing, discussing how these congressional hearings are going to play out. This was on Fox News.
James Comer knows what he's doing, and the first thing to do is to bring in the whistleblowers. You have state legislators there that have been sounding the alarm for some time. You have local news reports that go back for years. And so this whole idea and this notion that, remember, you have Keith Ellison, who's the Attorney General. Both he and Walz served in the United States Congress while I was there. But you have the Attorney General saying he wouldn't have done anything differently. You have the governor who's saying, well, we're setting up task force and, we're trying to put safeguards in place. Oh, really? And then his spokesperson comes out and says, oh, you know what? Donald Trump is trying to muzzle them. No, they're not. They're going to give every opportunity on the record, raising their right hand under oath, and be able to testify and explain to the American people where all of these billions and billions of dollars go, how some 20-year-old journalists can go out there and figure this out in less than a day. And these guys have been on the job for years, wasting our money.
I think the big part of this is you knew this was happening. You had reports going back, 10 years ago. You had journalists and local media that were pointing out these abuses. You knew this was happening. And part of the thing that you find is a common thread here. The abuses were brought up. The abuses were not fixed, and the Democrats that were wanting this money wanted more money. So as opposed to rooting out the fraud and abuse, their solution was, we need to ask for more money because obviously that's how you fund this program. You enabled the system to happen, and I don't think that you have to rule out part of a larger conspiracy, and I hate using the term conspiracy here because I wanted to say that as you start investigating this, and we've seen early reports in Columbus, we've seen places in Washington as well, and when you look at it in healthcare, in housing, in childcare, why is it always Somali owners that are getting caught here? And if you're on the left, you would say it's because you're racist and you're just, looking for only Somalians. Well, I would argue, no, that's not the case. I would say it's kind of interesting that it seems somewhat organized, like the word got out that this is a way to fraud the government, and it's working for us, and we're not getting caught. So here's what you need to do. It seems like as if this information was readily available to certain people, or there was some sort of syndicate or syndication, or what do they call it? Franchising. Maybe franchising is the right word. Because as these other ones pop up, you're finding that this is one of the common threads. And one of the common threads, I don't think, is unrelated to each other. I think there's more to it. And I think that's why they have to figure this sort of stuff out. I also want to know, and when you have the governor go in there, as you were warned about this and you were out there bragging about how great your system was, what have you done to try to stop the fraud after you knew it was happening? And I think it sounds like very little was done. $9 billion. Now, not to say that the federal government is also immune through all of this. The federal government's got some problems because they were also sending this money out. But I think in some ways they rely on the people who are on the ground, and the people on the ground were failing them. I mean, really, really bad fail. Let's listen to this, too. This was from News Nation, Minnesota Representative Hudson on it.
Is this just the tip of the iceberg? Well, that certainly seems to be indicated by comments that have happened on more than one occasion from the current U.S. Deputy Attorney, former U.S. Attorney in the District of Minnesota, Joe Thompson. He has said that indeed this is the tip of the iceberg. He's also said that he could keep 1,000 prosecutors busy and he only has 5 available to work on it. He has made the statement that we will never be able to prosecute our way out of this problem, that it's a problem that's going to have to be addressed both legislatively and at the executive level through the state agencies. And so indeed, that admission that we're never going to be able to prosecute our way out of this, what that means is injustice shall stand, that there is going to be a lot of folks who get away with this simply because the depth of the fraud outpaces the capacity of prosecutors to keep up with.
The depth of the fraud outpaces the capacity of the prosecutors. That's how widespread this fraud is, and that's why the federal government's in there. That's why you had ICE come in, and on top of ICE, they were going door to door investigating this. They need to know what's up. And how about Kash Patel coming out and saying the FBI was made aware of this, and during the Biden administration, we're told not to investigate this, meaning we do have records of these whistleblowers and the concerns of people that were investigating this fraud, and they were told not to look into it. So here's where the broader conspiratorial side come in. This information gets out there. People are defrauding the government. Democrats realize they can use this as an opportunity to import more people that are not from Mexico, so coming in from other places of the world, claiming amnesty inside of the United States, and get them in here, pay for their livelihood, in luxurious livelihood, and in return, who knows what they asked for. I would like to know where this money went. When you start to look at the players of these people that were owning these daycares and healthcare centers, you need to audit every single dollar. How much money went back to Democratic causes and Democratic candidates? How much money went overseas and potentially funded terrorist activities? How much money was wasted? How much money was funneled around? How much money was... we want to know what was laundered, what was sent overseas, possibly used for terrorism, and why the politicians knew about this and didn't stop it. And even more so, how about we go back to the Biden administration, why they knew about it and the FBI decided not to act on it. It's quite disgraceful, honestly, all the way around. And News Nation, credit to News Nation. I have been really impressed with them. And I've been saying when it comes to trying to find something down the center, it seems News Nation may be the closest down the center type of organization. It may lean a little bit to the right, but it's mostly down the center. That was a clip from them. They were the ones that were running that. And, I think they're honestly trying to figure out what's going on. And then we run into this, too.
Unfortunately, someone came in to our daycare. We looked and saw what happened, and we saw that the suspect came in from the back, broke in from the back kitchen, and he also destroyed the wall to come in. As we walked...
And stole all those documents. Okay, at the daycare center. We get it. None of this is lining up. Everyone knows they're lying. If you go back 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, they said, oh, this video is nothing. Oh, actually, that daycare closed down. That's why you don't see anything there. Oh, you know what? Let's go change the sign of a defunct daycare. Oh, no, the daycare is open. Look, there's people dropping off kids. Oh, look, now someone broke in and stole all of our documents. It's all lies. They've been lying all the way around. And they are in so much trouble, rightfully so. All right, Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio joins us after the break on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code NEXT for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code NEXT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code NEXT.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, igotfloor.com.
Hey, don't forget to go get your discount at Hanson's Tree Service right now. Go to hansonstree.com or call them at 636-379-1830. My friend Chad Hanson is a great human being, and he enjoys keeping his employees busy throughout these colder winter months. It's a perfect time to get trees removed, right? He knows that. He's also willing to give you a 10% winter discount off your tree care scheduled between January and March. So call now, get it scheduled. They'll come out and get it taken care of. I know he's mentioned this before when I've had him in on the show, but your grass is dormant right now because of the cold temperatures. They can get in and out with their heavier equipment if they need to remove trees, and it's just not going to damage your lawn. It's a great time of year to get that stuff done. They can bring mulch right to your house if you need extra stuff around your flower beds or your trees. Call them at 636-379-1830 or go online at hansonstree.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-939-1441. That's 800-939-1441.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Ranker, filling in for Marc Cox. It's Friday, January 2nd, the day after New Year. And joining us now from Fox News Radio, Ryan Schmelz. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Ryan. I prefer to be referred to as Ole Miss alumni Ryan Schmelz this morning.
All right, you need to give us a rundown here. So I just read the headline, and keep in mind, I don't pay attention to sports as much as I used to. So the headline is, Ole Miss Georgia Sugar Bowl thriller ends with delayed celebrations as officials demand last second be played. How did this go last night?
Oh, man, okay. So this was quite weird and might be a little complicated, too. So, Georgia was trying to do the whole lateral thing at the end of the game after they got the kickoff. They threw this, lateral behind, across the field, and then the ball rolled out of bounds, in the end zone, and it was a safety. And so Georgia had to kick the ball off, and so all Ole Miss had to do was fall on the ball or just tap it, and the clock would have hit 0. But instead, the players forgot to do that, and Georgia fell on it. So they actually recovered an onside punt, which I've never seen in my life.
Onside punt.
Yeah, so while the Ole Miss players were celebrating and there was like a little bit of confetti that fell down, like they were starting to pull the stage out, the refs like sent everyone back to the sidelines again, and Georgia got to run one more play. So I got a couple more minutes of anxiety just because of that. But fortunately, Georgia did not score on that play, and Ole Miss ended up winning.
All right, so in that moment, you're watching this, the wild roller coaster of emotions going through you. Were you yelling and screaming? Were you getting into it that way?
It was pretty intense. Let's just say that. Yeah, I mean, like we weren't yelling about that. It was more just like, oh no, like if anyone's gonna lose in this fashion, to be us. But fortunately, that did not happen.
Yeah.
So I'm actually on the board for the DC Ole Miss alumni, and we have a watch party at Mission Navy Yard here in DC. And so I was hosting last night, and we all left very happy.
Yep. Do you remember that old photo of when there's President Obama, Hillary Clinton, them in the Situation Room, and they're watching the raid to get Osama bin Laden? And was that what it was like when you're around a group and you're watching the last play of the Sugar Bowl and your team, all they got to do is hold on to it. They got to stop Georgia. Is that what it was like watching it in silence?
Some people know, but some people were already celebrating. I think some people forgot that it was even like the game wasn't over yet. Like we had to like kind of like, hey y'all, like we still got one more play, and people were just like, nah, we got this, we won. So yeah, it was like a very unlikely play for Georgia to score on. It was like a 90, like one play left ball at the 90-yard line or something like that. So like there were people who were kind of like, we're good, but others like, no.
No,
So,
you don't want to give the opportunity.
So imagine so I was like Obama and Clinton in that picture, but like just imagine them. But then you got like people like partying in the background, like waving pom poms and throwing things in the air. That's kind of how that picture was. So you just put a green screen behind them and then like animate some craziness happening. That's probably what it was like.
Yep. Well, I mean, it is 2026. I think Notre Dame has predicted this would happen. There's a lot of people that were talking about the predictions for the year. And I know you're looking forward to 2026. And I have to say, are we the only fools working on the day after New Year? Because you were telling our producer, Drew, here, that normally you're a guy that's in demand. You're doing all these different radio hits. But today we're your only one, which leads me to believe we're the only two people working.
It might be that way. Day after New Year's is but we have a fascinating podcast series of shows for the Fox News Rundown from Washington. So I had to be here to make sure we filled that in. But yeah, no, it does feel like it is a little quieter. New Year's happened we had a weird time this year, like it being a Thursday. So I guess it's like, okay, so do employers get people off Wednesday and Friday, or do they make them come in? It's kind of like a weird time, right?
Right. And, working at a radio station, here's what happens. And I bet you can sympathize with this. We get an email from the general manager that says, you've all worked really hard. So if you can, go ahead and just take the rest of the day off. Don't feel free. You can work from home if you need to. And every single person that is on air is exempt from that. It's basically an email that goes out to the sales staff. And you always feel like they get all the exceptions. And here we are working on the holidays.
Yeah. So as you're saying this, I'm pulling up the map or the 2027 calendar. Like 2027 is going to be off just because Christmas is on a Saturday.
Oh,
like there's going to be like no benefit to Christmas in 2027.
Wait, 2026 or 2027 next year?
2027. 2026 Christmas will be on a Friday. But 2027 Christmas is going to be on a Saturday. So,
oh no.
Yeah.
Then what do they do? Well, you're in trouble now.
No one has off. Yeah. No, you don't get any days off.
Well, they say the Mayan calendar was off by a little bit, so maybe we don't have to worry about it, and it's all for naught. But looking into 2026, there's going to be a lot of congressional battles, and it seems like they just added a new battle onto it with all of the emphasis on trying to root out fraud and abuse. We had Doge and Elon Musk last year, and that got a lot of attention. But now we're going into a potential another government shutdown, and on top of that, they're saying billions of dollars worth of fraud when it comes to child daycares, healthcare centers, housing, things like that. It seems like there's all these different battles that keep popping up for Congress to investigate.
We're getting started off very quickly. We're hitting the ground running. Let's just put it that way. Yes, we've got a government funding battle that with funding expiring at the end of January. The minute lawmakers get back next week, you've got the healthcare issue still unresolved, and then yes, we're expecting potentially some officials from the state of Minnesota to be coming to Capitol Hill to speak about fraud and what's been going on. We'll see if the House Oversight Committee is able to land Governor Walz and some of the other big names there, but a subpoena could be able to get them in there pretty easily. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very active the minute we get back here.
What do you think is going to happen with these Obamacare subsidies? Do you think that's going to be the big thing that holds up the government, perhaps another shutdown?
Potentially. I think it really depends on the appetite that people have for another shutdown and whether or not that's something that really people are going to be willing to go through again. I think one thing that could be different is that these appropriations bills, at least the next 4 that they could be voting on soon, they've been negotiated behind closed doors, and that includes Republicans, Democrats, you name them. And the one of the Democrats in charge of negotiating on the Senate side is a member of their party leadership. So, it seems like if they were to finish these bills, why would Democrats hold them up for that reason, especially if they're able to get some wins on their side. So we'll see what ultimately happens when they finish negotiating and all that. But there's still a lot of things to get resolved. And yes, this healthcare issue is still lingering out there. And of course, Chuck Schumer remembers all the flack that he got, both from the most recent government funding battle, but also the one that happened right once President Trump took office.
Yeah. And it's so interesting with the healthcare stuff because originally they said they would revisit some of these things. It doesn't seem like they've been revisited, but of course, things going on behind the scenes always could mean we're just not knowing about it. But the other side of it is they could always retroactively add these things, and they do that all the time, meaning it goes back to an earlier date and then it's taken care of, meaning if someone's worried about right now that the whole year is going to be like this, it may not actually be the case.
Yeah. And I've kind of said, too, one of the things to watch out for here is, are Democrats going to be willing, or at least enough Democrats, be willing to take yes and no for an answer? And what I mean by that is, are they going to be willing to take a watered-down version of what they've been asking for? What they've been asking for is a 3-year extension of the healthcare subsidies with no significant reforms. But will they take a 1-year extension? Will they take a 2-year extension? Will they take some of the reforms like the income caps that have been proposed, in many cases on a bipartisan basis? And if they're willing to do that, that improves the chances of something getting passed. And are they willing to take no for an answer, which is, yes, we're going to accept that we aren't going to be able to get the 3-year extension that we've been pushing for. So, yeah, if those things fall in line, there could be a situation where they do pass some type of extension of the healthcare subsidies.
Yeah, and healthcare, I think everyone understands healthcare is screwed up in the United States. There needs to be some changes to fix the system, and even across the aisle, they understand that. Just how do you accomplish it? One of the things I think Republicans, and this is the tough thing that I think Republicans put into into their strategy, which is we're going to offset the cost in other ways. So we'll lower taxes and we'll give you credits here and we'll do this. And by the end, it's a net wash. It never works out that way. And on the same side, on the Democratic side, they'll say, we'll root out some of these problems. They never do. And it just gets more expensive when they say it's going to get cheaper. And it seems like nothing gets done. Maybe that's just part of getting old when you realize that nothing ever gets done. They talk more than they act. And I don't know if that'll ever fix anything.
Yeah, and also we got to keep in mind that when we talk about the Obamacare tax credits, it's something that impacts 20 million people, which is roughly 5 to 6% of the population. So yes, I mean that's 20 million is still a lot of people, but also it's not a lot of people too because there are people who don't get impacted by this. So it's one of those issues where there's definitely a need to do something and to ensure that the significant amount of people don't see an increase in their premiums, but it does not impact every single American. And that's where some of these things fall. It's like, okay, well, will this tax policy actually impact me? Will it not? Will this healthcare policy impact me? Will it not? There's all those questions anytime something gets passed, which is, how many people does this truly impact? And are you at home going to actually be impacted by this?
Do you think the fact that this year's a midterm year means there's indications they're going to dig in deep?
Potentially, yeah. I think that's always when Marjorie Taylor Greene decided to step away. That's one of the things she was alluding to, was that she didn't feel that the next year, which is this year, 2026, was going to be a year that much was going to be accomplished, because the midterm, pressure was going to start to build in, and she believes that whenever there's a midterm, that means not much gets done. Some would beg to differ, but that is kind of one of the lingering things, which is, okay, well, how will the midterm pressure and that the fact that we're in that battle now, how is that going to impact how legislation gets passed on Capitol Hill, or how the White House behaves?
Right. All right. So what happens to your Ole Miss next?
We play Miami in Arizona for the semifinal for the college football playoffs. And keep in mind that we are actually ranked above Miami. We're the 6th seed. Miami is the 10 seed. But Miami looked pretty dang good against Ohio State this week. But look, I mean, we beat Georgia, which is a powerhouse and probably the premier program in college football right now, if it's not Ohio State. So it's going to be a fight, but I think I'm feeling confident with it. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't have a preference, honestly. I'll root for Ole Miss just for you, and I won't feel bad if Miami wins, mostly because they beat Ohio State, and that makes me happy. But I'll be rooting for Ole Miss more than anyone else for you.
Good. I appreciate that, Ryan. And, we got to keep it in the SEC. Let's go.
Ryan Schmelz, thank you so much, and Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New Year, Ryan. Thank you.
He's with Fox News Radio. He's a real one, and I always enjoy those conversations. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's your main man, Jimmy Fallon, and I am headed your way. Saturday, January 24th at the Factory in Chesterfield. We are defunding the joke police. So grab your tickets at 971fmtalk.com/events, and I will see you in the Lou.
I love how my friends at the Retirement Advisor Group spend their money around the holidays to wish you a Merry Christmas or a Happy New Year or a Happy Hanukkah. They understand the importance of family. This is a family-run operation. At the Retirement Advisory Group, it's what they do. And I know Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw and Tammy Kershaw work hard all throughout the year, and they love spending time with their family around the holidays. If you're going to retire, you have to understand what the risks are to leaving your money invested in the market. Maybe it's something you want to do, but you also understand that when the market takes a big dip, that your income is going to take a dip because it's reliant on it. All they do is talk about ways to structure your income so you don't risk the ups and downs of the market. Call them, talk to them about it. Tell them Mark sent you. They're going to be happy to sit down with you for free. 314-993-9494 or online at retirementkey.com.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Your home deserves siding that's as tough as it is beautiful. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we installed James Hardy siding, built to handle everything the St. Louis weather throws its way, rain, snow, or summer heat. Not only does it look amazing, but it also protects your home with long-lasting durability and low maintenance. Plus, with our expert team, you'll love the seamless installation process. Ready to give your home a stunning upgrade? Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com. Protect your home with the siding that's built to last.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
It's the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in, and what a morning it is to fill in. Ryan Schmelz is fantastic. We got a couple of great guests that will join us next hour, too, so we're going to end out strong. I saw the story about Zelensky says the peace deal is at 90% ready. In his New Year's speech, Ukraine is truly doing everything. I would say Ukraine is doing its best, all things considered. They have their back up against the wall, and they fought off Russia honorably. And part of it is that they don't deserve to lose anything out of this. I mean, Russia's in the wrong. But at some point, you have to realize the only way you can stop people from dying is to accept a loss on the battles to win the war. And I think that's what they've come to the conclusion. Not everyone wants to conclude that. Part of it, it's kind of hard. When you go through the stages of grief, and you lose, in this case, territories, there's a point where sometimes you have to come to acceptance in order to move on with the rest of your life. And if the acceptance portion of it means that you're no longer going to have to worry about your house getting bombed at night while you're sleeping with your children, then that is going to have to be the answer. You'll have to accept it, that this is just part of the conditions for it. I don't know if Russia is going to or not. I don't know how Russia wants to handle it moving forward. I guess we're going to have to see. If you can get one side to agree to it and Russia comes to the table and they want to do something else, then we got ourselves a showdown, and that's not fantastic. This is going to be a difficult one, and who would have imagined, going back to looking at the scenarios, that getting peace in the Middle East would be easier than getting peace between Russia and Ukraine? Isn't that something? Well, not to say it was easy by any means, but what I'm saying is, how is it that we're finding a ceasefire and peace happening between Israel and Gaza and these terrorists, that you could say we got to disarm the terrorists and they can have and live and survive and exist on their own, but you can't have them coming up and trying to kill Jews, and that would be okay. So they come to the ceasefire, they're looking at a long-term peace deal, and that would be accomplished before Russia and Ukraine, after all the history between that region, forever and in a lifetime of fighting, and generations of fighting, and centuries even. Before we go to break 2, I wanted to play this, and I mentioned this in the last hour. There's a commentator by the name of Scott Adams, Republican guy. He's someone that I supported Donald Trump and, supported Elon Musk and all these different sort of causes. But Scott Adams was primarily known for the comic strip Dilbert. Dilbert was this international sensation. It was, they made books, they made cartoons about it. And a lot of people loved Dilbert. I mean, it was part of pop culture and everyone knew what it was. And Scott Adams, his creation, rose to prominence. It wasn't until later years that he was known as the Dilbert guy, that also had some political commentary, and mostly conservative political commentary, that a lot of people started to reject him because of that. But fine. In recent 6 months or so, he's got a poor diagnosis, and he said things aren't going so hot. He gave an update yesterday, and the update was not great. I wanted to let you know how he's doing.
Okay. I will give you a little bit of a heads up. I talked to my radiologist yesterday. He was working on the day before New Year's, and it's all bad news. So the odds of me recovering are essentially zero. So I'll give you any updates if that changes, but it won't. So there's no chance I'll get my feeling back in my legs. And I've got some ongoing heart failure, which is making it difficult to breathe sometimes during the day. But at the moment, I can breathe, and I'm not in any pain. However, you should prepare yourself that January will be probably a month of transition, one way or the other. Now, I haven't made any decisions, but it was all bad news. No good news at all.
That breaks your heart. Prostate cancer that continued to spread. And when he gives an update to people online, because he gave a lot of updates. He did podcasts, videocast. He understood the power of the social media platforms, so he communicated in many different ways. But for him to come out and say, for those of you who have enjoyed my work over the years, I want you to prepare yourselves that you're not going to get too many updates from here on out. I might have a hard time breathing. I might not be able to breathe on my own. It's all bad news from the doctor. They're saying no chance of recovery, essentially zero, as he continues to battle prostate cancer. I want you to send well wishes to Scott Adams while you can. And how hard is that as a human being, as someone with a family, to come to the realization that the end is near, and he's trying to prepare his fans, the people that he's communicated with so clearly and freely with over the years, that you just need to be prepared that this may be one of the last times. That's a tough thing to do when he's thinking about other people and not himself in a case like that, because it sounds like he's come to peace with what's happening to him. He said he's come up with a plan for when things go downhill, and he knows what's going to happen next. That was a really sad update from Scott Adams yesterday. But if you didn't know, maybe you can go send him some well wishes on social media, I'm sure he'll still see it, at least at this point. We have another hour of the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. If you want to find me online, at Ryan Recker, Ryan Recker Radio on Facebook. Don't go anywhere on 97.1 FM Talk.
Setting goals for your retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another. For tips on building a better nest egg, listen to the All Financial Hour with Steve All.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Saturday mornings at 6 or Saturday afternoon at 4, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Did you get a call or message that mentioned Social Security that made you feel threatened or scared? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, press you for personal information, or demand instant payment. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Don't fall for it. Hang up, ignore them. Report this criminal activity to oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm, auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
At Grasser Home Services, we're looking for happy plumbers to join our team. Plumbers who are polite, honest, and do the job right.
And love dogs. They must love dogs.
Plumbers who treat customers' homes with respect, care about the details, and show up on time.
Know a happy plumber who's great with dogs?
Have them call Grasser Home Services.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy weight gain or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
A threat in a Trump truth. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Very early this morning, the president sent a message to Iran, posting on Truth Social, if Iran violently kills peaceful protesters, the U.S. will come to their rescue, adding we're locked and loaded and ready to go. Some Iranian officials have replied, warning American intervention would cause chaos and destroy U.S. interests as protests rage in Iran a sixth day.
Social media is filled with videos of protests across Iran with chants that have moved past anger about the economy and a collapsed currency, focused as well on the regime's leadership and a demand for the return of the Shah, the king. The U.S.-based human rights activist news agencies documented 7 deaths so far.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. In another Trump Truth Social post just before dawn, the president boasted that White House doctors say he's in perfect health, and he aced with the perfect score a cognitive exam. Following a Wall Street Journal story that cites worry he's showing his age, now 79. When asked about supposedly being caught napping at events, the president told the Journal people snap pictures of him mid-blink, showing his eyes closed. Minnesota is under even more scrutiny over more alleged fraud. The Small Business Administration blocking thousands of COVID-era loans.
In total, these borrowers were approved for 7,900 PPP and economic injury disaster loans worth approximately $400 million. And this announcement comes as Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and his administration face scrutiny over billions of dollars in social services fraud. Walz has deflected all blame, but a new report claims the governor received $10,000 from donors tied to Somali-run daycare centers.
Fox's Chanley Painter, they're still trying to identify the 40 people killed when a fire broke out an hour and a half into the new year in a bar in Switzerland.
The cause of the fire is not officially known, but one witness told a French broadcaster it was firework candles inside a champagne bottle that caused the explosion.
Fox's Rebecca Castor. 115 people also injured by the fire and the panicked rush to flee. America's listening to Fox News.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
It's day 2 of a new socialist era in New York City.
We may not always succeed, but never will we be accused of lacking the courage to try.
Mayor Zoran Mamdani also told the crowd at his inauguration he won't abandon his principles for fear of being called radical.
On the campaign trail, now Mayor Mamdani talked often about what he'd do for renters. While he can't impose a promised rent freeze yet, on day 1 at a city apartment building, Mamdani, by executive order, resurrected an office to protect tenants.
If your landlord does not responsibly steward your home, city government will step in.
2 other orders will work together to quicken the pace of housing development. He also promised residents the city will fight against price gouging and unsafe conditions as part of his pledge to make New York City more livable on his watch. In New York City, Gernal Scott, Fox News.
The new year has brought in a lot of new laws across the country. 19 states raised their minimum wage. Washington's the highest in the nation now, $17.13 an hour. Tennessee's the first state to create a public registry for repeat offenders of domestic violence.
The new registry is named after Savannah Puckett, a sheriff's deputy murdered by her ex-boyfriend who had a history of domestic violence that wasn't easily accessible. Supporters say the tool is designed to help prevent domestic violence by making repeat abusers easier to identify. Anyone can view the information on file. Managed by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, the registry will include the offender's name, photograph, date of birth, and date and county of convictions. Offenders could remain on the registry anywhere from 2 to 20 years, depending on how many times they've been convicted of domestic violence. Jack Callahan, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stocks could ring in the new year with more gains. Dow futures up more than 100 points after rising 13% in 2025. The Nasdaq surged up 20% last year. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Our weather pattern's kind of stuck in a rut. No big storms, no big cold, no big warmth. Mostly cloudy skies in play on this Friday. 44 for the high temperature. It's a little chilly out the door. Tonight, clouds dominate, 27. Saturday, partly sunny and a chilly 39. Clear skies Saturday night, 25. And Sunday, partly sunny, 45. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
Drew bringing out the hits today. Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Well done, sir. I think you picked some good music, producer Drew. I appreciate that. That hit you right in the right spot. So we have another hour of the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Ranker filling in, and after that, then what? Do we party? Is that what goes on? Get the rest of your day to just enjoy and bang on your drum?
Yeah, we bang on the drum all day, you know.
What does that even mean? Is there a meaning to that I don't know about? Is it something dirty like all the other rock songs I grew up with and didn't realize they were dirty?
You should know better than I would, you know?
Because I'm old? Yeah, is that what you're saying?
This is your era.
This was before my era.
Oh, okay.
When did that song come out? Hold on. Paul Rundgren, right? Is that who does that song?
I think it was
Bang on Your Drum All Day. Yeah, Todd Rundgren. I said Paul, but Todd Rundgren. This came out in 1982. This was before I was born. I was born later than that. But that is a jam. And Todd Rundgren is a legit genius and doesn't really get the credit he deserves. Some people give him the credit, but he doesn't get the widespread credit he deserves. All right, that's a good one. How about we just use that for our bumper music the rest of the hour? Can we just just play that one song? Oh, we got a lot to get to. Braden Perry is going to join us, a white-collar defense attorney. We're going to ask Braden, okay, realistically, what could happen to these people ripping the government off in Minnesota? I'm really interested to get his legal take on this. Also, Dylan Sharkey is joining us from the Illinois Policy Institute. I said Illinois Policy Institute. And there's a lot to watch out for when it comes to their spending and problems there, too. Who knows what other topics we may dive into. But lots to get to on the show this hour. Let's do the short list.
The Marc Cox Short List.
You have the governor who's saying, well, you know, we're setting up task force and, you know, we're trying to put safeguards in place. Oh, really? And then his spokesperson comes out and says, oh, you know what? Donald Trump is trying to muzzle them. No, they're not. They're going to give every opportunity on the record, raising their right hand under oath and be able to testify and explain to the American people where all of these billions and billions of dollars go.
yes, you're going to have a chance to speak for yourself and put your own record on the record. So this is going to be important for a lot of these different people called to testify from Minnesota. And if they don't come with receipts, they are going to get lit up, and rightfully so.
Is this just the tip of the iceberg?
Well, that certainly seems to be indicated by comments that have happened on more than one occasion from the current U.S. Deputy Attorney, former U.S. Attorney in the District of Minnesota, Joe Thompson. He has said that, indeed, this is the tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg meaning the estimations of upwards of $9 billion may be a low number the more you look into it. Wouldn't that be something? There is a lot of fraud going on, and it goes to show you that when it goes unchecked and the politicians' answer is we just need to get more money into the system to fix things is the wrong way to go about it.
So here's my promise to you. Today and every time you see me in this chair, you come first. Not advertisers, not politicians, not corporate interests. And yes, that does include the corporate owners of CBS.
Do you want to press the doubt button there? What's the meme online where it shows the guy from that video game and it's the doubt button?
It's from L.A. Noire.
L.A. Noire, yep. I'm pressing the doubt button.
Pressing the doubt button. There you go.
I talked to my radiologist yesterday. He was working on the day before New Year's. And it's all bad news.
That's unfortunate for Scott Adams, suffering from prostate cancer. He knew that it was going to be a hard battle for him, which he has been fighting that battle, but it sounds like it's all bad news. Is not the update you wanted to hear going into the new year from Scott Adams. And he said through this next month, you're used to hearing from a lot during the course of the weeks. He said it might be few and far between as he loses his ability to breathe on his own, and who knows what happens next. It sounds like he's made peace with it, and he's made the proper arrangements with his family. He just wanted to, I guess, give the notice to his friends and family that are on social media that are used to seeing his updates that it may not happen like they like. Sad to hear that. And we played that at the end of last hour, too. Couple of things I wanted to get to, and I didn't have a time to play a lot of audio. Let me play this one from Harvard. So Harvard alumnus have come out and are talking about what to expect in 2026. This is kind of interesting. Let me press play here.
And we need to be very clear now that we're in 2026 that not all cultures are equal, not all civilizations are equal. We need to be teaching about the virtues of Western civilization. There's a reason that 200,000 Somalis are living in the United States, and spoiler, there are 0 Americans living in Somalia. So the anti-white discrimination, the anti-Asian discrimination, and the anti-American narratives being taught at institutions of higher learning is something that's been an open secret for decades.
All right, I wonder, I have to find the full clip there, because I'm guessing all of Harvard doesn't subscribe to that, because Harvard went through their own admission scandals, their own racism scandals when it comes to discrimination based on the color of your skin. And part of it, a lot of these different colleges had the rude awakening last year that if you are using race as a mechanism when it comes to giving preference to certain students over others, that is not acceptable. Harvard said we should be able to discriminate against white people because they have so much of privilege or whatever. And the courts disagreed, and they said, well, actually, racism is racism. So Harvard alumnus have come out and said, I think you need to look at the United States of America, the Western world, and the way we live here, and realize very quickly that when it comes to the freedoms and the privileges and the law and the protections, you don't have that in a lot of other places. And there's a reason why this country is so revered when it comes to immigrants wanting to come in. Then you need to realize the places that where people don't want to immigrate to, that there's something telling there. So maybe you can, as Harvard alumnus there in that clip points out, use that as a sign that not all places are created equal. Let me go back to CBS News here, making a new pledge that they're going to be honest from here on out.
So here's my promise to you. Today and every time you see me in this chair, you come first. Not advertisers, not politicians, not corporate interests. And yes, that does include the corporate owners of CBS. I report for you, which means I tell you what I know, when I know it, and how I know it. And when I get it wrong, I'll tell you that too. It also means I'm going to talk to everybody.
Okay, we'll end it there. But let's look at it this way. When they say, this is my pledge to you. When we get it wrong, we'll let you know. That would be a huge improvement. Even if we don't trust you're going to be unbiased, mostly because, if you look at your producers and your writers and the people that are surrounding you, are there any conservative minds there that push back when everything goes super liberal? Because in these other newsrooms, what we find is that even if there is, then the editor is super liberal, and the editor gets to decide what goes on the news. Anchor doesn't push back because they're liberal too, and there is no mention, like going back to, and again, I'll have to try to just say this off the top of my head. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But when the Newsbusters, if you go to their website, the Media Research Center looks at and analyzes newscasts, we'll just take the Minnesota case, for example, and all the fraud that was discovered. They looked for like maybe 2 weeks, all the different coverage in all the different major mainstream networks, the ABC, NBC, CBS, and how much did they cover this major billion-dollar fraud as there was new information that came out every day. They had other opportunities to do it. I think it was ABC mentioned it for like less than 30 seconds. NBC mentioned it 0. And CBS is the only network that actually covered it like a news story. So they gave credit to CBS, even if it was only for a couple of minutes. It wasn't like the other ones who were practically ignoring it. So they gave some credit to CBS. Could that be a sign that things are getting a little bit better there for that organization? Maybe. Let's talk more about what happens to the people that will be undoubtedly prosecuted for defrauding the government. And Braden Perry joins us after the break. Looking forward to that conversation on the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. If you're the victim of a careless driver due to no fault of your own, the only way to know what your case is worth is by uncovering the full extent of your injuries. At Kaufman Townsley, we work with the top doctors in St. Louis. We'll help you get the expert medical care you need and fight to get you the maximum money you deserve. Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
Teachers shape the future. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who'll make preventing pandemics their life's work. Sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who'll help combat climate change. And generating possibilities for a student who'll be the first in their family to graduate college. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
DIYers like you like to say,
I got this.
Need to paint a bathroom?
I got this.
Whoops, was that a load-bearing wall?
Got this!
But what about rewiring a hot main or routing 120 amps to an outlet?
Nope, not this.
Great answer. In general, treating electrical problems like rattlesnakes is smart. Deciding to call Jerry Kelly to handle them or to perform a $49 electrical safety check, that's wisdom. Served with some sweet, preventative peace of mind.
JerryKelly.com.
Yeah, military life can have its challenges, but sometimes veteran life brings more. While serving in Iraq, an IED took both my legs, but it didn't take my spirit.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My name is Greg Gadsden, 26-year Army veteran.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
DAV helps veterans like me get all the benefits they've earned, and that can be a life changer.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Today, I'm an entrepreneur, photographer, and public speaker.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won. With the right support, there are no limits.
My victory is just being the best that I can be.
Greg Gadsden, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Hi, I'm Brad Keselowski, driver of the #2 Discount Tire Ford Mustang. Did you know one of the most important keys to success on the track and for safe driving on the road is having the right pressure in your tires? Properly inflated tires are essential to help you get the best gas mileage and keep you driving safely. Check your tire pressure at least once a month or stop by your local tire retailer for an air check.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Renker, filling in. Producer Drew, do we have our guest? I think we do. Which is going to be an interesting conversation. A white-collar defense attorney and partner at Kenny Hertz Perry. Braden Perry, thank you so much for joining us this morning in St. Louis.
Morning, Ryan. Thanks for having me on.
You're a former federal enforcement attorney, and I'm guessing watching everything coming out of Minnesota, you're like, whoa, this would be it's a lot of work. They got a lot to unpack there. So from your legal standpoint, I wanted to first get your impression of this case, the scope of it, and just how large it seems to be.
Well, it's not really that surprising. With these large bureaucracy programs that have been implemented through PPP, through SNAP, through daycare, through childcare, through whatever it is, these federal administrations give money to the states through pass-through, and it's just an invitation for fraud. And so from a legal standpoint, it's vast, and we can get into a lot of different areas of it. But from just a practical standpoint, it's not that surprising.
Okay. Well, let's look at some of the individuals, and they know them because their names are associated with the businesses that were accepting federal money. We are looking at billions of dollars in fraud. Where would you start? And maybe we can also discuss, too, where do you think this could go next? Because congressional hearings are on the way.
Exactly. Yeah. And so from a legal perspective, from a prosecution's perspective, you usually start at the low end of the totem pole. And so you start working up. And from that perspective, it's the individual daycare owners. And so, what you've seen on the YouTube and other commentary are these individuals that are exposing this fraud. And so, from a prosecution standpoint, it shouldn't be that difficult because there should be auditable records that can be either falsified or used to prove the fraud that is involved. And so ordinarily you start low and start working yourself up, and it becomes more complicated, from frankly perspective of a daycare owner. That's a pretty easy case for a prosecutor. When it gets to the officials that are administering this type of funds, it becomes a little more difficult due to qualified immunity to a number of different political and legal issues from the actual administrators of this program.
All right, so let's look at some hypotheticals. Obviously, we're all talking hypotheticals. You had some of the daycares said, oh, wouldn't you have it? Someone broke into our facility and stole our paperwork, so we can't submit this sort of thing. Does that matter to a prosecutor, or are they able to work around things like that?
Ordinarily, they can work around that. There should be records, because what the states have to do in administering these funds is have some sort of audible trail. And so if these aren't provided in real time as ordinarily they should be, and are records that are laying around and mysteriously have gone missing, that's a big red flag. And so you can get around those through other types of evidence and witness testimony, those types of things. And so, the fact that these records went walking away likely isn't a deal breaker from a prosecution standpoint.
Okay, well, let's look at the money trail. So when we're talking millions of dollars and lots of individuals being paid out in these places, is it possible for them, and how hard is it to follow the money of what happened to it after it got into their hands?
Yeah, when it comes to the federal prosecution, which likely this will happen because the states, frankly, don't have the manpower or likely the political desire to take this on. So from a federal standpoint, obviously the federal prosecutors through the FBI, through other investigative tools that they have quite a few ways to to track that money. If it goes overseas, that becomes more difficult, and that's been one of the themes of this is the nature of the individuals that own these and the likely international ties that they have. And so, tracking money in the United States is relatively easy. Once it goes across the border, it becomes more difficult.
Yeah, and they've used the term terrorism. Who knows what that money was used for after it crosses the border? That could be even separate charges. Like, let's say some of this money went overseas and they can prove that it was used for something that could be considered terrorism. So, I mean, the scope of this, it sounds like there's a lot of different avenues that these prosecutors could start to investigate.
Absolutely. And then, the easiest way is through the traditional wire fraud charges, those false statements, theft of government funds, conspiracy, those are all relatively easy. But when it gets into, potential terrorism charges, that's where things really ratchet up. And, you can see a prosecution that includes all of the above in this type of a scenario if the allegations are true.
Okay, I'm going to give some more hypotheticals here because obviously we just don't know a lot. But let's say, of course, the governor of Minnesota is Tim Walz, and he ran to be vice president. He was on a big ticket, and this is just recently. When you start to investigate, especially congressionally, you're going to come through documents, you're going to come through emails, correspondence, things like that. Is it possible that perhaps the scope of this can grow if they uncover other things that happen in the course of this timeline, or is the scope going to be so narrow that don't expect anything else to come out of this?
Yeah, I think from a congressional standpoint, I think you want the inquiry to be as broad as possible because, that's where you start identifying other types of potential fraud. So, we've discussed SNAP, we've discussed, the child care, but it could go beyond that. And the federal government gives out a lot of money to states to allocate as they wish for certain projects. However, those projects have to be legitimate and viable. And if they're not, and if the states are abusing the taxpayer funds at the federal level, I think the scope needs to be as broad as possible to uncover those types of schemes.
Yeah, and for a lot of ways, discovery seems to be the most scary thing for politicians, especially high-ranking ones, what could be found in instances like that. But if you're talking about starting low and going high, what would you say the likely charges, criminal charges, would be for those on the bottom while they work up?
So likely criminal charges, as we've discussed, have been wire fraud. That's the traditional kind of catch-all that really pulls you in. And once you get some cooperating individuals, then that starts to expand. And so you can get into the conspiracy, you can get into the theft of government funds, you can get into false statements, you can get into a number of different things. Those are the main areas that I think the prosecutors will go after to start building their case from the bottom up.
Do you think they better have saved some money for good defense lawyers?
It's one of those cases that can be so big that both the federal prosecutors as well as defense attorneys don't really know how to handle it. And so you see this in large conspiracies. And you look at the PPP loans, and the federal government did a pretty good job in trying to wrap their heads around the scope and extent of that type of a fraud. This could be even broader. I mean, it really is surprising the lack of oversight that some of these states have over the funds that they're given, and just the lack of care that taxpayers are paying for those funds.
Is there any statute of limitations? Because in some cases, there's been people that have said they've brought this up for the past 10 years. Is there any timeline problems that they'd run into?
If there's conduct that has been going on that had stopped over 5 years ago, then there's some statute of limitations problems. There's a number of ways to get around that. Ongoing conduct that doesn't stop the statute of limitations. There's a lot of discovery issues. Statute of limitations, it's a pretty complex area, but generally, if this is an ongoing issue, the feds won't have any problem with prosecuting the conduct.
Another side of this is, I think Kash Patel indicated that this was brought up to the FBI during the Biden administration. They were told not to look into this, so there could be some groundwork already laid. When you hear things like that, the FBI may have declined or been told not to investigate. And, of course, this is a big thing. Does that complicate things? Does that add another layer to this?
There's always a political layer to these types of issues, especially when it comes to the states that are the actual administrators. And these state officials generally are elected, and you see that too with administrative heads at the federal level that are appointed by the president. So you get different styles of enforcement from different administrations. Frankly, if one administration told the FBI not to look into this, that doesn't prevent the next administration from doubling down and looking into it and aggressively enforcing it.
All right. Braden Perry, white-collar defense attorney and partner at Kenny Hertz Perry. If people wanted to look you up online, blogs or anything like that, how can they find you?
Yeah, we're online at kennyhertzperry.com. I've got a Twitter. It's at Braden M. Perry. Feel free to look me up and let me know if you have any questions.
Great. Hey, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and Happy New Year to you.
Appreciate it, Ryan. Have a good day.
Joining us after the break is Dylan Sharkey from the Illinois Policy Institute. And if you're in Illinois, you may realize there's this new grocery tax that kicked in. We're going to talk about that coming up on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the time of the year when most of us notice if our windows aren't working like they should, right? Because you feel the draft, or you go to open your windows on the random 60-degree days we get here in the winter and they're jamming. Even hearing a lot of that outside noise when your windows are closed, that can mean that there's a lack of insulation and it's time to replace the windows. You don't need to panic because there's a really simple solution. All you need to do is to go to windowsbylakeside.com. My friends over there at Lakeside Renovation and Design, they specialize in these Infinity from Marvin windows. They're made with fiberglass. They're 8 times stronger than the vinyl windows that are probably on your home now. So they're windows that are designed to last at an affordable price. Lakeside, family-owned company, great family that runs it, hundreds of 5-star reviews. I love that they don't subcontract out. So someone was saying in a review that it made a huge difference knowing that they could trust their workers completely, right? That matters. Go to windowsbylakeside.com. Check out all the options you have to choose from. Again, it's windowsbylakeside.com.
Solution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Land Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Live, local, and conservative. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Took me a second there why producer Drew was playing that song as we rejoined from the Illinois Policy Institute. Their assistant editor, Dylan Sharkey, joins us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. So some things that may be changing in Illinois, one of which now into effect, we're looking at a 1% sales and use tax on grocery sales. I think about this and, oh boy, things are tough. People complain. The price of everything is going up. And at the grocery store, you think that's one of the places you wouldn't want to put a special tax on to try to make things more expensive.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so up until a few days ago, everyone in Illinois was paying a 1% tax on all groceries. But starting on New Year's Day, only some of us are now. The state was always collecting it, but the money went to local governments. So Governor Pritzker announced months ago that the statewide aspect of that was ending. And now, starting this year, only certain towns are doing it. About 650 towns have voted to extend it, but say Chicago, Springfield, some other suburbs of Chicago, let it expire. So those people will start seeing a 1% reduction on all groceries because those towns agreed to let the tax expire and give people savings.
Okay, so what's the prerogative for the ones to keep it? They just love the revenue and they didn't want to give that up?
Yes, exactly. Because it's misleading for Pritzker to brag about eliminating it, which he's doing in campaign ads, because it wasn't his revenue to give away. The budgets were for cities and towns, not the state. Local governments had to pick between grocery relief or keeping the revenue. And millions of people are still going to pay it, so it's not really accurate for him to run a TV ad saying, well, groceries are cheaper for everyone, because that's not the case.
No, not at all. And here's the thing. He's going to talk out of both sides of his mouth. He's going to say that in ads, and he's also going to complain about the cost of groceries and he's, I'm sure, going to blame Donald Trump for it. So he's going to try to take it both ways.
Yeah, and it's good that Illinois is limiting it because we're an outlier as a state by taxing groceries. With us removing it, there's now only 12 states with a grocery tax. We were the only big state with one. We were the only state among the 10 most populated with a grocery tax. So if you look at the states that do have it, they're much smaller economies. They don't have Illinois' income taxes. They don't have Illinois' property taxes. They don't have Illinois' gas taxes. So it's a very different revenue stream for them.
And just on a side note, I went to tax.illinois.gov just to look at some of the different, research for this, and my computer flagged it as malicious. So maybe my computer's onto something, and they know what's up. Let's look at Illinois, and part of this article from IllinoisPolicy.org. It says, Illinois progressives want to reimagine capitalism and hand out free money with the tax dollars you worked for. So when you look at 2026 and where we move forward, how the budget works, how do you think Illinois stands?
The budget, one huge issue with the budget and a lot of Illinois budgets in years past is that they simply didn't read all of it. It's like the world's worst book club. The budget was more than 3,000 pages long, and lawmakers had less than 24 hours to read the whole thing. So forget about understanding all of it. How could they even have read all of it in that time and understand all the consequences and what it has for people?
A lot of people say there's a difference between northern side of the state and the southern side of the state, southern more conservative, things like that. Do you fear that Illinois is just turning more and more liberal, and it seems to be only a matter of time that the influences of Chicago are going to continue to leak all across the state, or do you still see certain footholds that are pushing back on things like this?
So it's a weird dynamic because Chicago's population is actually becoming less and less as a whole for Illinois. Now, the metro area with the suburbs, that's still quite a big lot because the metro area is 9-some million people, but the city is less and less of Illinois' total population. So it's interesting to think about its influence. But, if someone moves from Chicago to the suburbs and they continue to vote the same way, politically it wouldn't change anything.
Do you think watching New York City, so, Chicago being one of the large cities, you have New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. When I think about it as like radio and TV markets, you always think of the big three ones. Do you think Chicago is watching New York and Mamdani and the idea of, you know what, we're going to just tax the ultra-rich and we're going to use that as a way to bring the cost of living down for us regular folk? Do you think that large cities like Chicago are watching what could happen in New York and, let's say, find it appealing and perhaps start moving in that direction?
Well, I think it's important to see how things play out. You brought up the basic income program in Illinois. Illinois has tried pilot programs for universal basic income where people just get money regardless of their employment, and it hasn't worked in increasing wealth. So we know for us it doesn't work. And, to your point, looking at other big cities, seeing what doesn't work is also good because you don't necessarily dedicate any time or money in your budget to it, and you get some sense of how it would go. Illinois' biggest issue, Chicago too, is that Illinois is number one in the nation for highest property taxes, and that's a huge barrier to home ownership, and growing pension costs don't improve current service, but they do increase people's housing costs.
Well, they have their own, scandals, Chicago, and different mayors and problems with the way things were handled. Like, let's look forward to 2026. So there's a few things that are going, at least on the federal level. Do you think things on the state level could improve? Do you think that 2026, there's any shining moments, things that you're looking forward to that may actually give you some hope?
Yeah, there's a federal program that would bring in millions and millions of dollars for education scholarships for students. But the caveat is that states need to opt in. So Governor Pritzker this year, if he were to opt in, it would bring federal dollars, so it doesn't cost state or local taxpayers anything, to Illinois. And states are opting in, so someone's going to get this money. It's a matter of Illinois getting it or not. And it could be used for ACT prep for kids getting ready for college, which is huge because Illinois' in-state tuition is some of the highest in the country. And so other students in other states, if they opt in, will get it. So Illinois would actually be at a disadvantage by doing nothing because you'll be applying to colleges against other students who are getting this money.
What do you think about the whole Pope versus Pritzker stuff where, the Pope didn't like some of the things that were signed at the end of last year, assisted suicide being one of it, and the Pope making comments and at least a plea to try to prevent the state from going that way, given the Pope's history with Chicago and that region? What do you think about the unlikely notes from the Pope coming out against Pritzker?
I think Pritzker would want, they say there's no such thing as bad publicity. I don't know how true that is, but I think Pritzker is looking for any national headlines because one of the big things he's trying to do is increase his national profile. When he was being vetted as a potential VP running mate for former Vice President Kamala Harris, his polling numbers were great compared to even other governors. And so I think one of the things he's trying to do is just get his name out in other states, in nationwide stories, period, good or bad.
Yeah, they keep looking at governors, and of course, you have Gavin Newsom, you have Gretchen Whitmer. Do you think Pritzker is still a national discussion, or do you think that his time has passed?
Oh, I think he's still trying to, for sure. But, it's tough for him because if you try and elevate him to a national profile, you got to put his resume as governor up there. And, certainly Illinois' issues predate him in a lot of ways, but you have to look at his actions and what he's done. And, you have to take his good and bad baggage with him if he's trying to elevate his profile.
I got to say, as someone that looks for audio clips and things for shows. I used to see Pritzker all the time. He was showing up on the national networks to try to get a couple of sound bites out there. He's few and far between anymore. I don't think they're welcoming him back. Maybe it seems like his big push is on hiatus. Maybe he's going to try to lay low for a little bit, but I just don't see the same appeal nationwide for a guy like that. And even Donald Trump doesn't even mention him anymore in the negative. I think they see him as a non-factor.
Yeah. One of the huge things, though, when you're running for any office is fundraising. And Pritzker certainly has the financial war chest to fund a campaign, whereas other candidates would need to come up with, millions of dollars that he already has.
Do you ever figure out how many toilets he has in his mansion? Do we ever figure that out?
It's always changing. Changed by the day.
It's always changing. Well, if people wanted to find you and your work online with the Illinois Policy Institute, where can they go?
Please check out IllinoisPolicy.org.
There's a lot of people, I think, would like to see a little bit more free capitalism continue to see the merits of that and hopefully sign other people onto it. Illinois, it's got a lot of work to do, but there's people like you fighting for it. Thank you, Dylan Sharkey.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
And he's with the Illinois Policy Institute, assistant editor, IllinoisPolicy.org. You can find some work on there as well. All right, so getting ready to wrap up the show. We have one more segment left. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox on 97.1 FM Talk.
Four distinct seasons, sometimes within a single day. Dave Murray's got you covered with Air Comfort Service heating and cooling weather. Every day on 97.1 FM Talk.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
The colder weather is here, and my friends at Hanson's Tree Service want to offer you a 10% winter discount for all tree care scheduled between January and March of next year. Marc Cox here. Call now. Get your spot secured. Also, when it comes to winter plant health care, it's a great time to get one of their arborists over. Have them to prescribe the best treatment options for your trees during the fall and winter season. Tell them you heard Marc Cox talking about it. Schedule your appointment today at hansonstree.com.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around. Treatment has really saved my life. To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
At Smile Train, we understand that most children with clefts need a little extra care to help them grow healthy and strong. Visit smiletrain.org to learn how Smile Train is supporting the cleft community with lifelong smiles.
This holiday season, when you get them STIHL, batteries are included. Buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit STIHLUSA.com for gift ideas and seasonal savings. Happy holidays from STIHL. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. There's a big fraud crackdown going on the federal level. Here's a headline. The SBA suspends 6,900 Minnesota borrowers over suspected $400 million fraud scheme involving PPP and disaster loans during COVID-19. I think that federal aid being stopped and halted that are coming in for these daycares and these healthcare centers and this housing junk that's suspected to be fraudulent needs to, be done and also replicated on the voting level too. And if we look at where all this fraud has been discovered through these daycare centers. It has been discovered through these quote-unquote healthcare centers. It's been reported in PPP loans. It's been reported in housing. It's been reported in SNAP. And you go down the list and you're like, okay, all of these different government programs all have been defrauded. And we're talking to the tune of billions of dollars. And they're looking into this and they're like, wait a minute. So the federal government under Joe Biden really didn't care to look into this any further. They just said, whatever. I mean, drop in the bucket. It's the national budget. I mean, it's going to take more resources to root it out. So we might as well just give all these people as much as they want. It's stupid. It's unbelievable that tax dollars are being wasted that way. And then they decide not to try to stop it. So the point I'm going to try to make is if you can witness all of these other institutions being frauded, then why is it that if you bring up the possibility that our elections are also vulnerable and have the possibility of fraud, then you are looked at as a conspiracy theorist that is, racist or whatever they say, because the only reason you do that is because, poor minorities that won't be able to vote if you try to crack down on this sort of election fraud stuff. Here's what I think happens. Lack of oversight and enabling certain communities, in this case, we have to be sympathetic to the people that come into this country and these poor people, so we need to be able to help them in ways where billions of dollars of fraud exist unchecked is ridiculous. But same thing could happen in the electoral system. You have these voter rolls that a lot of times Democratic areas refuse to purge when someone is ineligible to vote. A lot of places have laws on the book to purge these things, but they resist the purging. And we saw this during the last presidential election, very famously in a lot of different states. You had, in some cases, states that had more people eligible to vote than there were, more people registered to vote than there were eligible to vote. And that's a big red flag. And they'll say, no, voting irregularities and voting fraud is so rare that we can count them on one hand, and there's no way that any of these things could be happening. It doesn't make a difference, so let's not even look behind the curtain. So you go back to Minnesota and the example of all these different instances of fraud, and you find out, too, that part of their protocol is if you have one person vouch for, 8 others, that it would allow them to vote in an election? Wait, what? You have certain states that don't allow for ID to confirm you are the person eligible to vote. You have people dumping mass ballots, and, some of them get caught, a lot of them don't. But I think what also happens is that just like these Somali daycares, just like these quote-unquote healthcare locations where they're finding apartment buildings have 8 healthcare providers in one apartment building that looks like it's a college frat, and they're providing no services for these things. When you start to look at some of these different addresses for voters in the same things happening, people are living out of state, but they're claiming that they live in an abandoned apartment or an abandoned house, and there's like 12 voters that live in one location, and they're all eligible to vote. Oh, and if you do bring any concern to that, it's not worth our time to investigate. The election's over. We can't separate their vote from everyone else, because once it's counted, and they're not going to, politically speaking, want to go back and prosecute these type of people. So you have fraud all across the board, and I think it's ignorant to say voting fraud is something that is impossible, considering we've uncovered all this other fraud in government systems. So we have to take this very seriously, and I think that's why Donald Trump gets in and says, we have to lock this down. And you find certain states that are fighting them over and over again because they don't want to change the system because they're afraid that if you change the system and only make eligible voters eligible to vote, then you're going to take away votes from Democrats in their state. I think that's the reason why some of this is going on. There could be a financial backing. You can say, why is all of this money going out? And what happens to the money after it goes out? Is it to get votes? Is it to funnel money back like a money laundering? What is it? What's going on here? You have to find this out. And I think the congressional hearing, you're going to find it's tied to more than just finances. I think you can find it's tied to voting as well. And we're coming up to a midterm, so you have to figure this out. And all the Democrats that enable this in these states, they got to get on board that fraud is bad. You're not helping the people you say you're helping. And if you're in the way, then you need to be investigated too. Period. That's it. Over in New York, I'll tell you, Bernie Sanders is pretty happy. Did you hear Bernie Sanders yesterday when he was talking about Mamdani during the big ceremonial swearing in? Here we go, Bernie. Listen to the excitement.
You took on the Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, the President of the United States, and some enormously wealthy oligarchs. And you defeated them in the biggest political upset in modern American history.
All right. I wouldn't say this is okay, hold your horses here, Bernie. I wouldn't say that this is the biggest political upset considering 2012 and everyone laughed at the possibility of Donald Trump becoming president of the United States. That was a little bit different, I would say. And I think you would want to do that. Or 2016. Excuse me, I was getting the dates mixed up. But what maybe my takeaway of all of this is I would like a crowd of people to follow me around. And anytime I say something, I want them to cheer just like they do the fake cheers for Bernie Sanders. And I think later today I'm going to eat a nice turkey sandwich and maybe some baby carrots. And then after that, I think I'm going to pretend to work, but I'm really going to be looking at social media. And then I'm going to come home, put on the sweatpants, and maybe watch Stranger Things this weekend. That's what I want. All I want is a crowd to follow me around and just cheer for me. Anything Bernie said, they were eating it up. Come on now. And these poor people, they're stuck in these parks and they're watching a screen because they can't get close to the stage. And there's no porta-johns. And who knows? It's cold. They're finding a bush. Gross. It just reminds me of, okay, he's saying we're going to improve the lives of all the people here in New York. You can't even provide porta-johns for the people there to see your ceremony. So you're not off to a good start, Mamdani. Enjoy your weekend. I got to say, this whole week filling in for Annie Fry, Marc Cox here, Mark Reardon. It's been a true honor of mine. I'm Ryan Recker. Have a great weekend, and hopefully 2026 we'll get to connect here again soon.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.